We're going to go ahead and start the City of Fairhope work session with, first item is going to be a discussion of the Fairhope Arts and Crafts Foundation MOA with the City of Fairhope, and I've got Laura English and Jody Holland and Stephen Roberts here.
Hello. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
And Andrea. And Mayor. First, what I wanted to do is kind of recap 2025. So in March, we completed the 73rd Annual Arts and Crafts Festival. We had 174 artists. We had 2 good days. Yay. We always at least get 2. The artists came from over 28 states. We had 2 from Canada. We had volunteers this year. Every year we have a chair and a co-chair. I'm kind of revisiting this so everybody knows what we're dealing with. We have our chair and our co-chair, and then we have 18 subcommittees, and each subcommittee has a chair and a co-chair. And then beyond that, we've got probably over 150 adults and students that help with the festival. So it's a large volunteer group. We also, for 2026, the 74th annual will be March 19th, 20th, and 21st. So make sure the streets are available for us. We have already received over about 550 applications for the festival. Currently, we've got about 177 committed. We start this process in July, then we go through a series of jurying these artists, and then we accept them and we do invites. And then between now and there, whoever decides to see the weather's going to be scary and drop out, we have wait list and we replace them. So currently we're at 177, which puts us at capacity for the festival.
Laura, what was the dates again?
It is going to be March 19th, 20th, and 21st. So they'll start rolling in on the 18th. And we're actually working with the police department with a new concept for registration, so that more to come later. Shane's very excited, I will say that. Anyway, and I forgot to introduce everybody. So I'm Laura English, and I'm currently on the board for the foundation. This is Jody Keating Holland, and then we've also got Stephen Roberts here for the festival. So with recapping the past, what we want to talk about is the future. So we've had a MOA with the city. It was a 5-year agreement. It does come to an end at the end of this year. So what we would like to do is propose that we do a perpetual agreement with you guys. As you may know, we took it over. We had it for 2 years. Then we took it with a 5-year agreement. We feel like we've kind of proved ourselves by putting the festival successfully together, putting money back into the community, elevating the economic impact of Fairhope and all those good things. So we would like to propose that we get a new MOA that is a perpetual agreement, obviously with clauses for both parties. So we're throwing that out for the board to discuss. Any questions, comments, questions?
Pretty strong. Perpetual.
It is.
What's the reason that you want a perpetual as opposed to just another 5 or 10 years, something like that?
So to be honest with you, we have put this together, and with 2 years, agreement, then another 5-year agreement. There's always the opportunity for us to be able to focus more on the festival and not focusing on, are we not going to get the festival this year? Do we need to continue to come back and make sure somebody hasn't come in and said, hey, we want to do it, and take that over. So there's fear there. So the security of knowing that will let us have the consistency of being able to do more, better, and, stronger things with the festival to grow it. Because as the foundation board, that's part of our mission is to continue to keep the integrity of the festival, but also to grow it for the future. So we're always looking for ways to do that. And then at the end of the day, of just being able to say we've got it for for that length of time.
Laura, we have no issues with you guys, as you know. But I mean, you can always, if you're 4 years into a 5-year contract or 3 years into a 5-year contract, you can always renegotiate at that time.
Okay.
I don't
think we can do it anyway.
What's that?
So you can enter perpetual contracts anyway.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say perpetual contracts worry me.
Okay.
Although one would argue the pier seems to be in perpetuity, but
Yeah, I think somebody could give
That's
us
a
some
joke.
examples of that, which is why we asked for it, but we'll see. But to your point, maybe we could
It was a
extend the
joke.
length of it, maybe do a 10-year contract or something. One of the things, if we do another contract, we'd like to ask about the dates, because right now the way the contract ends is December 31st. So our year ends June, the end of June. We start the new year in July. So right now, in July, we've already are soliciting for applications and stuff. So if for some reason it didn't renew, we would be kind of, in a mess there. So that would be the change we would like then if we did a new contract.
My concern is not for today, but always to the future as to what may happen. And, Chamber of Commerce ran that for a long, long time. Who would have thought that they wouldn't be running it today? They're not. I don't mind a long-term, contract. I don't even mind a contract that's renegotiated part of the way through it, but perpetuity, I don't even know, you're saying it may not even be legal.
Okay.
So if we can't do in perpetuity, one thing I would say about the length, I think having a longer term contract makes sense to me because, 74 years of the festival. And just from having watched them run it, I would say, I think even when it was under the chamber's umbrella or purview, it's always kind of been a volunteer
Yeah, definitely.
operated festival and event. So it was under the chamber's umbrella, but I think that was part of the conversation when y'all came to us 8 or 9 years ago or 7 years ago, when it was being split off from the chamber, was that, hey, it's really been run by
Volunteers.
the volunteer network that is pretty extensive and that's what always sustained it. And so when you rolled out of that, we did the 2-year, showed that you could do that, and then we've done 5 years and it hadn't really missed a beat. I mean, you can't control the weather, so you don't always have a 3-day, perfect weekend, but I feel like as far as the operation of the festival, everything's been kind of the way it's been, so.
Okay,
That's-
appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I know the festival's really important, of course, but I was going to ask you, do you know how much money that it generates for our community?
The economic impact,
Approximately how much money does it bring in?
we do, I don't have that number, but that'd be a good question to ask the Baldwin County Economic, as a suggestion, somebody had said, but it takes time to get a study. We haven't spent the money to have a study done
Oh,
for
okay,
that, so,
okay.
yeah, but we could probably find out.
I know it brings in a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I know we recommend for like some of the artists, we even recommend going to Foley or going to Spanish Fort because usually Fairhope and Daphne is all taken, by
Right.
people just coming in to shop and visit. And so we want to put the artists far away so that they aren't using the prime real estate for our festival goers.
Well, one thing, Councilwoman Booth, that I've noticed, and I've talked to Kim about this phenomena, is if you look at our sales tax revenues for the year, they seem to go down in March,
Okay.
and which is surprising because we have 300,000 visitors or 300,000 people visit the Arts and Crafts Festival and they're selling things, but our sales tax goes down in March. I can't make sense of that.
Does it go up in April?
Well, I think.
Is it a trailing?
In the,
I was like, if that's
I don't
residual
think, I
effect.
looked for that to see if it was in arrears or did it go up in April. I don't remember it being a huge jump.
Well, the point that's being made is anything that's done in March, we collect in April. So that's where you're gonna see it in April. Because
Okay.
You're expecting a big spike in April, and it's not a big
Right.
spike.
But it does jump in April from March.
Depends on the year. Most years, yeah.
I know you can't use your cell phone during that time, so there's 100,000 people here.
It's a constant project that we're working on. The city helped us last year. It didn't work, but we're going to try a new one this year. So we are trying to get cell service in there because they can't use their,
Right.
to be
communicate.
able to
well, look,
swipe.
you guys do a phenomenal job, and, I've got no issue with extending the contract and doing it long-term.
Okay.
The only, long as we're picking a term that's legal that we can all live with. But you also have to look at, in 4 years, it might be a different set of people sitting up here. And so there's some benefit in getting some
Yeah.
longer than just our term because
Right.
you want to have that continuity and that commitment from the city for your group to be able to plan out and take care of all those things.
Yep.
And sometimes
And I know you'll find it hard to believe, but Jody and I would like to actually retire too. So we're trying to do our best to make sure it's set up for our,
you can't.
That's the big reason to be concerned with it is, what happens when the core group decides that they want to retire?
that we want to retire.
That's-
Yeah,
That's the
a
bigger
good- that's a
concern for
good-
me.
a
it
good
is.
point,
So we're training for the future
Yeah,
here,
you're training
guys.
people underneath
Yeah.
you, and it just.
It's
that's
been
the
a
way it
lot of
works.
training the last
You get
couple
people
years.
excited about it, and they want to rise up.
Yep, passionate about it. Share the passion.
Passion, pure
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. The second thing we wanted to talk about is in the MOA, we actually pay the city $20,000 a year for hosting, or for us using the streets. So we would like to talk about possibly removing that from the agreement and be $0 would be ideal. And then that way, we can continue to do what we do, which is we take all of our profits and put it back into scholarships. We do all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna let Jody go down the list. Go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Stephen is gonna share with you something that we recap, but just to, back to, I think what Andrea had mentioned is the economic impact of
sir.
the
Thank you
very
area
much.
that Arts and Crafts brings. But there's also all the other things that we do after that, taking the proceeds and putting it back into. We have scholarships. We did 5 this past year. We've increased to that. We also do a dogwood scholarship that we do to support the dogwood program. Go ahead, take
Yep.
it away.
So I'm kind of hard numbers, being the banker I am. Our operating costs have increased 32% since the foundation was established. I know that sounds shocking, but it was shocking to us as well when we ran the numbers. We pay for Baldwin County Sheriff's Department during the festival for perimeter security because Fairhope PD obviously doesn't have the manpower, woman power to do that. We do pay Fairhope Police Department their hourly rate for after-hours security as well. So that is in addition to what we pay the city. Food costs has increased for the artists significantly. BMI and ASCAP fees are 200% increase. We use all local rental companies, Easy Haul, Gulf Coast Events. I mean, all Baldwin County, we try to use all Fairhope companies, but sometimes we have to spread that net out a little bit further. But 100% Baldwin County. All of the money that we spend to run this festival stays here in this community. And we're doing that all while increasing donations to nonprofits as it relates to our mission statement, which you guys can see there. Student scholarships, like Laura mentioned, and artist awards, along with, and we're very proud of this, we paid for the staining of the parking garage. I don't know if you saw the beautiful hue on the concrete. That would be us. You're welcome. The mural on the side by the Welcome Center by Hannah Legg, we funded that as well. We feel like that adds some ambiance to the city. The economic financial impact, like Laura said, the
Downtown.
the downtown merchants, the hotels, heads and beds, the restaurants. And while we're there, we did all of this with less money, basically, and we were still the largest arts and crafts festival in Alabama and the top 20 arts and crafts festival in the country. And so we are very, very proud of that. And we're just asking for a little bit of help to be able to continue the levels that we're doing and to be able to support our community. Because we're working real hard, and we have a lot of volunteers that are working real hard. And we're a volunteer organization. We all have day jobs, and we just do this out of the love. And Ms. Bess, you're a generational supporter of this festival, and we just want it to continue and to be bigger and better. And we need your help to do that. So that's all I got.
Council, any thoughts about modifying the MOA to extend the term and then eliminate the $20,000?
Jack, what was Jimmy, I don't remember the genesis of that, of coming up with that $20,000 number. What was the basis of that when we did it to start?
I don't
Need to know that.
recall the reason. I feel like it was something that was offered just because of, it does take up.
I mean, I hate to say it, but we've got, we have to pay Public Works, we have to pay for the fuel, we have to pay for the garbage disposal. It cost a lot of money to put that on for several days, and it's kind of something that I've cautioned, just like if we were to build a performing arts center, sooner or later, people figure out a way to get it for nothing. And we have to be reimbursed for our costs, and if I sympathize with your costs going up, I would suggest going up on your fees. You have how many artists that are paying a fee to be there, and you're still coming away with with excess because you're you're doing these great things with all this money, and I hate to be the Scrooge, but I mean, it costs the city a lot of money. Are we gonna get to the point where the Arts and Crafts Festival costs us money instead of makes us money? Because that's what we're approaching. But I would like to, back to your question is, you know, what was the reason? I would assume that it's just like any other activity we have. We close the streets, we pay for the sidewalks and the streets, and
So I can share a little bit of insight on that since I was around for this one. Is when we were moving away from the chamber didn't pay anything for the streets. So when we initially did the first year, when we were trying to form our organization on our own, as volunteers, we actually split and gave the chamber 50 grand to just as in good faith that we want to take this over. Then the next year, we tried to put together a MOA with them. We were unsuccessful, and so we came to the city, to you guys, and said, hey, let's do this. So I think because we had paid them, we were it was in that same, kind of state of mind that we thought, okay, we need to include that in. I think we've grown a lot and proven ourselves since that point. I think it wasn't really about the workers and stuff at that time. It was more about us proving ourselves as an organization.
what was the arrangement between the chamber and the city as far as how did money exchange hands? Did they keep every penny?
Everything. We never, as a city, paid the chamber or received money from the chamber for the Arts and Crafts Festival. We actually have always given an allocation to the chamber throughout the year. So this was just, when this transition took place, Laura is correct. They tried to work out something with the chamber, let the chamber continue to be involved, like answer the phone, those kind of things. The chamber denied that request, so they came to the city, and they were just trying to find a way to make it work with the city because these volunteers really wanted to do it. And there was a lot of transition between the chamber and the Festival Foundation. So they offered that amount of money to the city, thinking that it would secure them being able to do the festival. But that we had never collected any money back from the chamber for all those years.
They didn't pay for the
six,
rental of
never,
the streets or
absolutely
anything?
never, never.
I'll reconsider that.
How much does it
I
cost?
would like
us
to hear your opinion, Sherry. I'd like to hear.
I haven't done a cost analysis in a long time, but probably, I wouldn't even guess right now because labor costs and stuff. But, again, it's one of those things like, the tree lighting, those kind of things, yes. Does it cost money? Yes. But does it have probably an economic impact, an intangible one that we're not able to track? Yes. Again, 74 years history of the festival, and I think there's so many people who look forward to it, locals and visitors alike, so.
I'm just worried, tree lighting, to me, is a little bit different because there's no revenue associated with it, right?
Correct.
With the Arts and Crafts Festival, y'all are creating revenue for
They are.
yourselves, and of course, it's being reinvested in the community, but I'm just wary of.
They're not
Given-
really creating revenue for themselves, though, because they're a nonprofit. So all their money they're putting back
Right.
into the community. So they're not, stockpiling a lot of funds. They are putting money into an endowment, which is part of their mission, that if we ever did build a performing arts center, they have a contribution towards that as well. So they continue to do that, plus they continue to do these, community donations as well as do scholarships for, local students.
So the money is actually coming back into our community. Prior to when it was with the chamber, it was not coming back into our community.
No.
Very good.
Yeah, the other thing too, to keep in mind, sales tax, Lisa was just mentioning, you also get business license because you are collecting from, people who aren't part of the festival that come in, you're getting business license increase. You're also seeing, lodging increase. Hopefully, obviously, we don't have as many hotels as, Daphne and Spanish Fort do because we share the love with them, but there are some other revenue streams that come into the city
Great to
as
see
well.
some sort of analysis just to show.
And
Even just
Yeah.
backup, it doesn't have to be something extensive that costs $50,000 to evaluate,
Right.
but something that just says, hey, we can track the business licenses that are brought in, we can have a
We
general
might
idea.
can do that through South.
We
Maybe
know-
they have
Yeah.
a mechanism
We know how much
for
labor
doing
we
that.
spend on shutting down
Sure.
the streets and cleaning up, just to get an idea.
We do know how much labor we spend. I just don't have that.
No,
in
I
front
know,
of me.
yeah.
Was there any chance that you guys had offered up the 20,000 just as a way, like you said, to get the business of having the Arts and Crafts Festival?
Exactly what,
Possibly
it's exactly what it was.
I think that's
Absolutely.
That was
Was.
my recollection of it. I just didn't
Yeah.
know, I didn't know the history of, or didn't recall it at least, as to whether or not the chamber, prior to the volunteer group taking it over entirely, if the chamber had been paying
That was a huge transition.
It was. I remember it,
And
and
there
it
was
was-
no history with the Arts and Crafts Foundation, and the chamber had a long history. So in an effort to be able to secure the festival, that was kind of an olive branch for them, was to say, hey, we'll put money back in the community. And again, that first year, they gave the chamber $50,000 because they knew the chamber lost revenue from the festival. So they, in, good faith, made sure they got some revenue from it too. But again, they actually spent, I think, $25,000 painting our parking deck this year, staining it. So they are putting money back into the community.
And I do feel like it was one of those things that it was offered, and so you're sitting up here on the council, and if somebody's offering you $20,000, you're not gonna say, nah, we don't need that. I mean, I think that was just what was proposed and what was
Yeah, you're correct.
offered at the beginning. I mean, I would say the economic impact, and I know we don't have data to support it specifically that we have in hand. I mean, we can get the data, I'm sure, but I would say just even taking a straw poll, asking local merchants, restaurants, VRBO owners, hotels. I mean, I think it's one of the main economic drivers throughout the year is that Arts and Crafts Festival. I mean, I think what we generate from a sales tax revenue, lodging tax, and just what our I guess, businesses generate from operating during that time is pretty substantial. I would imagine that the 20,000, it's not, I mean, 20,000 is certainly nice and generous, but I don't know that that's gonna make or break the city of Fairhope's operating budget. I mean, I'd be willing to certainly consider doing a revised MOA for a longer term and maybe eliminating the $20,000 fee, just because I'm trying to think of another example of a similar scenario, know how we would treat that. Or how does Chamber do the Jubilee Fest in Daphne? Do y'all, anybody know?
I'd just like to have some more data.
We can find that out. The other thing I will mention too is, there's two festivals that happen during that weekend. It's not just the Arts and Crafts Foundation,
And
it's
that's
also the
always
Eastern Shore
confusing
Arts
to me.
Center.
So they've
So
got
the
their
Eastern
own-
Shore Arts Center, we give them money, they don't give us money, and they're part of also closing the street. So, and really the Arts and Crafts Foundation does all the marketing for the festivals. They work on transportation into downtown with the trolleys and stuff. I mean, so it's two festivals going on. So really, they're being asked to contribute, but you have another organization, again, and we all love the Arts Center, we give them an allocation every year. So that's another thing to consider, is that we are, there's two festivals going on.
And that always, I think, has been kind of confusing to me. I don't really know where one ends and the other begins, and
They separate them.
Yeah, there's a delineation between them. I mean, they separate them. We know the delineation.
well, I
People
mean,
who,
I've been going
Yeah,
every year,
for
and I
years.
would never say that I have noticed where one ends and the other
well,
begins.
it's
over
about
20-some
two
years.
steps just south
Wells
of the
Fargo.
Regions Bank at the
Bank.
corner of Magnolia and Section.
So it's all the way in front of the Arts Center and all
Correct.
the way up to Regents.
Correct.
That's right.
Something might be helpful is just us having a
Yes.
guideline, so then we know, hey, the next festival, well, you give it to Arts and Crafts for free, right? What's the threshold? Maybe we just say, hey, look, if it has an economic impact of so many dollars, we can say, hey, this is sort of our cover that, yeah, this makes sense. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to be
and-
fair about it, right? That-
Yeah, and that's tough. I mean, because the problem is any festival that comes and asks for a free street rental or a free whatever is not gonna have a 74-year history. So it's hard to take that as an apples to apples. Well, you did it for one, you do it for us. This is one of the most historic art festivals, I think, in the state, maybe in the south.
In the southeast.
And so, it's, and we did it sounds like we did it for free for 70 years, and then the last 5 years, we've gotten a $20,000 donation from the festival, so. I don't have a lot of heartburn in taking that fee away, because it sounds like it wasn't a fee we charged, it was a gift you were providing us when we
Right.
never charged you that before.
But just being the Scrooge, continually being the Scrooge here, is that I don't think they're going out of business if they have to pay the $20,000. They've got enough to make all these other donations, and we give $300,000 towards community development grants every
100%.
year. That's 20,000 less in the kitty that we have to.
That's
To
right.
give to who we choose to.
But we're also not gonna go out of business for not getting their 20 grand.
That's
either.
true.
We put this in the
Just,
back
just
burner.
want to make that
Talk about it
argument,
more.
though. Just make sure that point's out there.
Well, would you split that with the Art Center? I mean, does the Art Center have to contribute since the foundation's having to contribute?
We've never had an agreement with them of that. That's not money we're taking off the table now.
So the other part of that, to your point, is we pay for all the marketing, we pay for all the rentals, like all of the bathrooms, porta potties, the entertainment stage, all of that is paid by the Arts and Crafts Festival. The Arts Center gets that because they're right there. So there is that part of it that kind of goes into play too. Just throwing it out there for the Scrooge
Are
to
there
think about.
different rates? I mean, be careful about what you throw out there, because I can throw some other
We're not
things
voting on
back.
it right
'cause,
now.
Sure.
It's just-
Sure.
There's some other
Happy.
amenities that they're not getting.
Okay.
All right, what's a time frame? Because I know we've got other things to cover in this meeting. What's a time frame on, this current agreement is in place until
December,
December
yeah.
26, or December of 26.
We'll get through this
And,
festival without any
Correct.
issue. It just
Correct.
needs to be
Oh,
addressed.
okay.
But really, it needs to be addressed before before June 30th.
Our end of our.
Because whatever
life's
agreement we
easier,
come
yeah.
to, whether it be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, really ought to start July 1st and go
Correct.
till June 30th.
That's correct. That's correct.
Marcus, there's no issues with that, right? Having a non-government calendar contract? We're fine. Okay, that's easy. That looks like an easy gimme.
Yeah, all right. So one other thing I wanted to mention is, unfortunately, Diane Douglas, who was the Company of Angels, who was also one of our volunteers and did the Adopt an Artist thing, she passed away this past weekend. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We'll be doing something to honor her at the festival for sure.
That's sweet.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, we appreciate you guys
Yeah,
working
thank
so
y'all for
hard.
what
All
you
right,
do,
thank
and,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Council, let's spend some more time just thinking about that over the next few weeks, but I would like to have something in place before that June 30th
I'm not sure,
date.
Mayor or Kim, if y'all would be able to just provide some sort of basic economic impact?
Yeah,
just-
that's what I was gonna ask. If you, maybe we'll contact South and maybe with some of their
Yeah.
graduate students,
Yeah.
they could maybe use this
Of course, we
festival
know
this
our
year.
costs, like you said, but we
Yeah,
can at
to
least
do an
understand.
economic development study, just to
Yeah.
kind of see what kind of impact we're seeing.
Because you gotta see it, but it's, I mean, you look at it's weird. The April revenues are not consistently way larger, but
Right.
maybe that's due to the weather?
I think it's
It
one
could be weather.
weekend jumps up, and then the rest
Yeah.
of March is probably kind of quiet.
And some of it's probably I mean, some of it could be
Yeah, I guess if
weather,
it's rained out one
but
year,
some of it's
yeah,
weather.
yeah.
But I
makes
think,
sense.
we've been doing it for so many years too, that you
Oh,
just,
yeah.
Fortunately,
Again.
we don't have numbers without the arts and crafts.
yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Could be much, much less. You know, that's
Right.
true. That's the
Right.
thing.
You'd almost have to see that weekend compared to the other weekends in March. I don't know if,
And I did pull
Can we
that
break
a
that out?
couple years ago. I think I pulled it to look just specifically at that weekend, but my memory is
if we could
not as
get
good as
that,
it used
that
to
would be the comparison, I think,
Yeah.
would be the weekend before, after, and then the arts and crafts weekend. All right, moving on. Next item is a discussion on the selection process of a consultant for compensation and classification study. Hannah Noonan, HR Director.
Good afternoon. This is a resolution on tonight's agenda, so I just thought I would take a few more minutes than we typically have for department head updates to give y'all some background on our selection process. So we, as part of the FY26 budget, have set aside an amount to dedicate to a classification study if the council so approves. So we, in October, opened up a request for qualifications, which we sent out. We received 7 responses from a variety of consultant firms. We had one who is from Alabama, and 5 were from the southeastern United States. The rest were from elsewhere. We had an evaluation team of 5 members, which included myself, the mayor, city clerk, the personnel board chairperson, Jeannie Johnson, as well as council president Conyers. So we went through all 7 responses with a fine-tooth comb. We had predetermined evaluation criteria, which we were rating each of them on, which included the experience and reputation of the firm, thoroughness and content of the proposal, their proposed schedule, so the timeline of the project, the methodology and procedures that they would use to conduct the study, past performances and references, as well as where they're located, which plays into our market as well. Through all of that, we have narrowed down and are requesting the approval to choose Evergreen Solutions. They're a firm that is based out of Tallahassee, Florida, so just a few hours away from us. The staff who will be dedicated to our particular project have real-world HR management experience in the public sector, so not just private sector, not just consultancy background, but actually practicing and administering human resources and payroll. They've also recently completed classification studies with at least 4 agencies in Baldwin County in the last 2 or 3 years. They listed 23 Alabama clients, as well as I think the majority of those were in Southwest Alabama. So we're fairly confident in their knowledge and their experience within our region. They have estimated around 6 months for the total project completion, which would allow us to include some sort of phased implementation with the next budget year, which is really important. This is driven off of our current pay scale, really having a lot of limitations for our employees, their salary ranges, promotional opportunities, experiencing recruitment challenges with our skilled labor workforce, law enforcement, and even a couple of, professional level positions. So I looked back, the last study we did was in 2021, and that was the one with Auburn University. We're currently operating off of that classification study. And 5 years is kind of the recommended average for the time to do a renewed classification study. So we're kind of right on schedule, asking for this to be part of the budget year. So the resolution tonight is just asking for y'all to approve our selection. We're not at a point to ask for fee negotiations, but that'll be coming up very quickly. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So if y'all have questions about the selection process, I'm happy to answer.
I'll just add that the selection process was very in-depth. That was an awful lot of reading for the people that participated, and I don't think I knew what I was getting volunteered for, voluntold for, but
It's
I was
appreciated.
happy to see that one of my 2 that I thought was among the best is who is being recommended, so I guess that means that other people felt the same, so.
Great to see the local experience, so
Yes.
they know. It's not
Yes.
like somebody. So,
Any questions for Hannah on this?
No, I think everybody's going to appreciate Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next item is a presentation, City of Fairhope Safe Streets and Roads for All, Laura Beth Yates with Kimley Horn and Nicole.
And me. Good afternoon, council. I don't know, 2 of you will not remember because you were not here, but back in 2023, we applied for a U.S. Department of Transportation grant called the Safe Streets for All. And part of that grant was to produce what we are calling a comprehensive safety action plan. You'll hear from Laura Beth Yates with Kimley Horn, who was the contractor that worked on the safety action plan tonight, about that, the process to get to what we have now for the draft safety action plan. It was a long process, but not too long. That included a lot of public outreach that Laura Beth will tell you about tonight. We do have our 2 city point of contacts here tonight, so if you have any questions for them after Laura Beth is done as well. Michelle Melton with the Planning Department was one of the POCs, and then also John Thomas with Public Works. So I am going to turn it over to Laura Beth and let her walk you through the process and talk to you about some of the findings with the safety action plan, and then we can address any comments later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so I'm Laura Beth Yates. As Nicole mentioned, I'm with Kimley Horn, and I'm here to talk with you about the safety action plan that we are on the verge of completing for the city of Fairhope, and we'll talk a little bit about the process that we went through, and then what the results of that plan were, what the projects that have resulted through that plan, and I'll try not to bore you to tears. This is a really exciting project for us, but I know it's a lot of information. So this is our agenda that we'll go through. I wanted to give you a quick overview of the SS4A grant program if you're not familiar with that. We'll talk about the process requirements that the SS4A program has in place for safety action plans. We'll talk about the leadership commitment, which is where you guys come in, and then we'll talk about the next steps for this plan. So the SS4A grant program was established by the bipartisan infrastructure law. It's a discretionary program. It's got $5 billion total in appropriated funds over 5 years. So as you can see, 2026 is the last year. We're in the last fiscal year for this program. It supports the US DOT National Roadway Safety Strategy. The goal is to eliminate, to eventually get to the point to reduce and eventually eliminate roadway fatalities and serious injury. So that is the overarching goal of this program. There's two types of funding in the program. The first is action plans and demonstration funds, which is what the city currently has and is using to develop this action plan. The second is implementation funds, which is actually the part of the program where you can design and then construct the projects that are identified in your action plan. So the action plan is the first step, and that's what we're about to wrap up. And then implementation funding will hopefully be the next step if you guys choose to go after an implementation grant. This is the last fiscal year to do so. So we'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit more about that here in a minute. So these are the components, the 7 components of a safety action plan. As you can see, the first one there, leadership, commitment, and goal setting, is not checked, and the last one, which is evaluation and transparency, is not checked because that's something that we'll be making recommendations for in the plan, but it's something that is going to be an ongoing process for you guys to keep the public kind of aware of what's going on and be able to evaluate your progress. The first one, the leadership, commitment, and goal setting, is what we'll talk a little bit more about, which is we want you guys to be able to read the plan and then be able to commit to a reduction goal in fatalities and serious injuries on the roadways. And so I'll talk about what that might look like here in a second. But that's what we're talking about tonight. And then plus the other 5 components that are listed there that have been checked, those are the ones that are in the plan currently. Everything, we'll go through all that, and we'll talk about how we address those steps throughout the process. So the first one is planning structure. The safety action plan is required to have a planning structure in place in the form of a steering committee or a task force that helps guide the plan through the process, helps to guide the development of the plan to make sure that it's reflecting the values of the community. And so this is just a list of organizations that we had representatives from that made up our steering committee. And so they were involved throughout the process. Michelle and Nicole and John, like they were just talking about, they were some of our main folks from the city who were involved. And we also had these folks from this list as well that were involved in several steering committee meetings throughout the process. And just a little bit about what we did with the steering committee. We had one of our meetings, we had them get together and give us their feedback on specific engineering countermeasures that they thought would work well or they thought would not work well in the context of Fairhope. We also had them look at our the subset of corridors that we identified as the high entry network, which we'll talk about. We had them vote on those. Which one do you feel like is your top priority? We also had them vote on prioritization metrics for those corridors that we'll talk about. So this is just a little sampling of how they weighed in and gave us their input on the plan. So the safety analysis component was a big part of this plan, and what we did was we looked at all the crash data within the city limits, and we wanted to focus on fatal and serious injury crashes, which you can see. It's a little bit hard to see. All this is in the report, the full report that you guys can take a look at if you haven't already. But the fatal and serious injury crashes are the main focus of this plan, obviously. And then vulnerable road user crashes, anybody that's walking or biking or on a scooter, wheelchair, et cetera. That was another big focus for us. So we wanted to make sure that
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the time frame on those deaths, on those crashes?
This is the past 5 years.
5 years.
And I believe it was 2019 through 2023. That was the last full set of data that we had when we were working on the plan. So yeah, so 5 years worth of data that you can see there. And we tried to capture as many of those crashes as we could in what we're calling the high injury network, which is just a collection of corridors that we want to focus on, right, that have the most fatal and serious injury crashes and the most VRU crashes. And so you can see on the right side, there's a list of 10 corridors that are highlighted there. Those are the ones that stood out when we did this analysis. So those are the ones that are included in the plan that have project recommendations that you'll see. So the engagement and collaboration that we did with, like I talked about, our steering committee and also additional stakeholders. In addition to that steering committee, we had a meeting with those folks to get their input to make sure that the entire community is represented. We also created a project website. You can see that's a screenshot of what the website looked like. We created business cards that had a QR code on the back that we could hand out to folks that we went to the Arts and Crafts Festival and handed those out. So that took them to the website. There was a survey, an interactive map, and all that sort of stuff where the public could give their feedback. And so this next slide shows a little bit of the metrics that we got from the survey and from the interactive map. We had over 900 surveys completed, so that was a pretty good number. We were pretty excited about that. We had over 700 location-specific comments that people submitted. And then you can see the website page views and sessions and all that. We had a lot of good comments and quotes that we actually included in the plan from the public as well. Real quick, I'll touch on this. One of the other components is policy and process changes. So we reviewed some of y'all's existing plans or policies, things like that, that you have in place to see how safety is currently addressed and how it could be addressed further in the future and the next iteration of such a plan or whatnot. And so you can see we reviewed several plans. The Safety Action Plan report has all of this information in there, shows which ones we reviewed and what the recommendations were, and all that sort of stuff. So the project selection and prioritization, this is where we took those 10 segments that were identified as the high injury network, and we had the steering committee vote on how they felt like these segments should be prioritized in terms of the 5 criteria that you can see in that pie chart. And so they weighted all these metrics were weighted based on how the steering committee voted and how they felt. And then those weightings were then applied to the corridors to help us rank which ones would be the ones that you would like to probably go after funding first, or the ones you would like to construct first. And so all 10 were kind of ranked in that order, if that makes sense. That's how that prioritization came about.
What's a vulnerable road user?
So a vulnerable road user is defined as a pedestrian or a cyclist or anybody that's on a personal conveyance like a scooter or a wheelchair or something like that.
Thank you.
So this next slide, you can see the 10 segments. This includes not just the segment, but the intersections within those as well. So these were the 10 that were identified, and this is how they ranked through that prioritization process. And then we took those 10 and we developed project fact sheets for each one. And so you'll see that in the appendix of the report. It's got, the first sheet has just some data and facts about the corridor, and the second sheet has the recommendations for that corridor. And so this component, this is the leadership commitment and goal setting component. This is where you guys come in a big way. One of the things that's required is for the governing official or body of the jurisdiction to commit to an eventual goal of 0 roadway fatalities and serious injuries, either by a target date to actually reach 0, which is pretty ambitious, right? We're not necessarily suggesting that we do that, but the other option is to set a target to achieve a significant reduction. And so the good news is that you guys, which you'll see in one of the charts in the report, you guys in the city are already trending in the right direction. And so the rates, the fatal and serious injury crash rates are actually going down, which is great. And so what we would suggest is that we commit to like staying on and maintaining that trend until it would equate to approximately 50% reduction by the year 2035 if we continue on that trend. if that makes sense. So that's what we would recommend, that we say, make a statement or a resolution. Y'all can talk about this, and it can be a thing that you address at a future meeting. But that would be what we suggest, is that we adopt a goal of maintaining that trend, and then we also say that we're committed as a city to eventually getting to zero. We just don't put a date on it. We don't say exactly when that would be. And this is the trend line that you can see, how it's coming down. The crash rate is expressed in crashes per 10,000 residents. And so you can see how it's trending. This is the rolling average over the last 5 years, 5 years rolling average. And so this would be the commitment. And so what we'd also like for you guys is to be able to review the whole report as well, and officially adopt the safety action plan along with this reduction goal. And so next steps, obviously today, is the presentation. We've already sent y'all the draft report, so if y'all have if there's any changes that come out of y'all's discussion tonight, we can make those changes and address them, and then submit the final report to the city, and then you guys would be able to adopt the final report and the commitment. And then after that, once we know the timeline for implementation grants for this year, if you guys are interested in doing that, which I hope so, y'all can go ahead and start that process of applying for implementation funds for whatever project that you select. So with that, I would like to answer any questions.
Barbara?
Thank you.
Yeah, can you just have one page of this that says, it explains pedestrian walkways, like to let our community know what a pedestrian walkway is? Because no one seems to know what it is.
How to keep them in the walkway, on the sidewalk, and out of the road.
They usually cross right in between.
Yes, we've noticed that being a problem too, yeah, when we were doing our observations, so.
Council, I do want to make the observation that the reduction in fatalities seems to follow the trend of additional golf carts in the city. As our population has increased, we've increased the number of golf carts as well. You would think as a population increases, you might have more fatalities, but I argue that for every golf cart you have on the street, you don't have a 3,000-pound vehicle that can do 60 miles an hour. They have a maximum of speed of 25, supposedly, and they weigh a lot less. And while they're not immune to accidents, and we see children driving them that shouldn't be, and drunk people driving them that shouldn't be, the overall, though, you know, the speed is slower and less chance for fatalities.
That's a fair point.
There's definitely been a substantial reduction percentage-wise in 5 years.
Like it's real heavy on Morphy Avenue, where they're having a lot of problems.
Council President, too, I just wanted to mention one thing that I love about the plan, too, is that if you'll look at the project selection and prioritization, you know, some of these areas we've already addressed, you know, so like the Veterans Drive. I mean, that was going to be, you know, one of the areas that we wanted to look at. The other thing would be right there at Valana and 98, you know, that's mentioned, not specifically, but it calls out that area. I mean, we're looking at, you know, we have an A-Trip 2 grant there to start work on later this year. So, you know, obviously we knew that we had some problem areas, but with this data, it solidifies that, so which is
Question
great.
for you there, Mayor. I looked at the rank number 1 and 4, and obviously the roundabout does a great deal to address the accidents that we had at that intersection, which were numerous.
A lot.
However, if you look at the 4th one, the rank 4th, that's Triangle Drive / Alabama 104 from Section Street,
Correct.
Veterans to the city limit. I still perceive that intersection at Triangle Drive and 104 as where a lot of
is,
major
yeah.
accidents occur.
Absolutely.
Just having to live near there and see them all the time, so.
I think one thing AlDOT's done to address that, though, too, is change that turn signal. I think they made some adjustments to that turn
Okay,
signal,
good.
if I'm not mistaken. I
That's
think
good.
now that it goes, I
Okay.
think it's there where it goes green versus blinks and let people turn, you know, just on a yellow light. I think they've stopped some of that, so I think that's going to hopefully help some of that.
I know
They've
that's
done that
what-
in a couple areas.
Good.
I will say also, we did have a representative from AlDOT on the steering committee, and we did talk about leaving that in here as a priority project, because that is something that we could work together on submitting a grant for. And AlDOT also knows that there is a problem with that intersection
Right.
and that whole area. And they do also want to do something to fix that. But from what we heard from them, it was going to be a lot of work to do that and potentially a lot of money to fix that whole intersection. I don't really know maybe Richard might know a
That's
little bit better.
not a good look for
I don't know if
them.
they talked about
Let's prioritize money over lives. That's,
well, I think I don't remember what they talked about, but I know that anyway, it was left on there because there might be a way that we could work together to submit to get some funding for that. And I also know that the Eastern Shore MPO is actually working on one of these safety action plans right now as well. So there's a lot, that could be done with all of these projects, so anyway.
But I do think it's exciting that we'll probably already see some positive results because of some of the intersections that we're already looking at, and then we've already made modifications too. So, again, I think it's, we kind of talk amongst ourselves internally, and we have the traffic committee, and we talk about different intersections that need some improving. But it's great when you see professionals and the community weighing in and that they see the same thing. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank
It's a
you.
great
Thank
project.
you very much.
Sherry, what did
you,
you
guys.
say that, I have a resident that's been upset about Volanta, and I didn't catch what you said.
Valana and 98, we received an A-Trip 2 grant for just over $2 million, and this summer we will be making some modifications to that area.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think summer. Right, Richard? Summer? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Just
much.
another road closure that people can scream about, but
Well, this resident has been very upset.
hopefully it won't be a complete road closure.
Yeah.
All right, next item up is a presentation for the City of Fairhope Storm Drain Art Project. And Nicole Love, Grants Coordinator, and Lindsay Lawrence with Eastern Shore Art Center.
Y'all don't get to see me again? Yay.
Hey, where have you been?
This will be quick, but for Councilman Gammon and Councilman Booth. This was something that we brought to a work session before that we had talked to the council about a potential project with all of these great partners, the Eastern Shore Art Center, the Pelican's Nest, and the Fairhope High School Arts Department, right? Arts Department. For the potential to do a storm drain project. And I won't go over this a lot, but this was really just background for the two council members that were not here, and really just to remind everybody. So the goal was to create some art in and around the storm drains to make them stand out and raise awareness for the residents and for visitors that only rain belongs in our drain. Again, we have what is called a municipal separate stormwater permit that it requires us to do education and outreach. And so we thought this was a really unique way for the city to educate folks on stormwater. So this is just some representative examples of the art that could be done on our storm drains. And what kind of prompted us to look at this, we know, you just heard about the Arts and Crafts Festival. We know that the city of Fairhope is very artsy, and this is just a cool way to incorporate the environment and art. So we do have an update on that. The Eastern Shore Arts Center and FEEF, Fairhope Educational Enrichment. Yes, you just say it.
Foundation.
Fairhope, yes. FEEF applied for some grant funding, and even though they applied for $10K, they received $5K through the Alabama State Council on the Arts. And then I'm going to let Lindsay finish that off, so.
Yes, so we did a field trip at the Pelican's Nest through FEEF and that organization, and it was for 10 high school art students, and what they did is they have to participate in the field trip in order to do this project. So they learned about how unique our area is, the estuary, how our water flows, our unique landscape in relation to the Mobile Bay, because we do live kind of in a really unique spot here, and kind of raise awareness to the students who are going to be doing this project so that they can convey how important our area is with visitors and people that live here as well. So it was a rainy day, fortunately, during our field trip. So although we were soaked and cold, we did get to see firsthand how the water moves in our area for these like man-made areas, which there's construction going on at the Pelican's Nest Science Lab with the, K1 Center. So we got to see a lot of man-made waterways versus like the natural ones. We took a walk down to the bay and got to see how water flows into the bay. So you saw the previous slide, like some examples of other cities who have like fun stuff on their storm drains, but ours will be specific to our area. You'll only see like our native vegetation, our wildlife here in this area. So it will be artistic, but also educational. So thank you for your support on this so far, because projects like this is what makes Fairhope unique. But the fact that we can bring education and involve our students in it as well is kind of like the cherry on top. So the next phase is the students are working on their submissions right now. All 10 students will have the opportunity to submit a design proposal, but only 5 will be submitted because we only have 5 drains that we will be doing. Do you have the?
Yep, next.
Okay.
Sorry. Hit that.
Okay, these are the selections that we've made where the storm drains will be, and they're all pretty strategic. The first one on the top left is actually across from City Hall here, and you can see the Eastern Shore Art Center is kind of like to the right there, and conveniently it's right next to a trash can, so it's like put your trash there, not down the drain. So right next to a crosswalk as well. Then top middle is across from Knoll Park, and that one is the closest to Mobile Bay. So that is a great spot and kind of a great surface area for that place. Top right, you'll see Theater 98 in the background. That's right across from the Fairhope Community Park. So great visualization with the children, since that's going to be an educational one. And then bottom left is right there at the parking garage. So already some murals and stuff going on there. So that is great. And that's right outside the new restroom facility. And then the bottom right, that's at Bayou and Bancroft, and that's right where the walking school bus stops right before they go up to the elementary school. So that's kind of a good bottom location to the art center, but also next to Fairhope West Elementary School as well. So even though we had to reduce a little bit, we were wanting to do 10 storm drains, but since we got less funding, we just hand-selected half of the storm drains we were going to do. But all 10 students will be able to work on the storm drains because they'll kind of work in pairs, and that'll help us speed the project along and get the painting done a little bit faster as well. Is there anything else further?
Nope.
Okay.
I love this. I think it's such a cool project.
Yes. So I guess we'll go to the next steps. The students will submit at the end of this month. And we're hoping to start painting in February if possible. That way we can paint in February and March. And then we'll have a reception and kind of like a unveiling of the project, probably like after the festival, maybe early April.
Any questions for Nicole or Lindsay?
Sounds real Fairhope to me.
It does sound real Fairhope. I think the only thing we do need past this point from the city, if we could have the storm drain locations that we've selected pressure washed before we set our paint date, it would help the longevity of the project. We do have Hannah Legg helping us select the proper materials we need, and she'll be on hand during the painting process if the students have any questions while they're working on this. She was a part of the field trip that they had, so they got some insight on her design process, her process, how this is done, and some of the materials that she uses. So, yeah, it was a really great day for them.
Yeah.
It was even though we were soaked. But we
I skipped out on it. I was like, it's raining, it's cold. Sorry, y'all, peace out.
So yeah, the only thing we need is if we could pressure wash, just even if it's just that portion of the sidewalk that we're using, that would be a huge help.
I'm sure we can get
Mayor,
that
is that
done.
doable?
That's doable, and I'd like to make another request if the council would see fit. I mean, obviously, it's, walking school bus down here at Fairhope Elementary School West, but also at East, they're doing it once a week, I think, maybe on Fridays, but even for special events. It would be great to do one out by that school as well, if the council would see fit to allow me to spend that extra $1,000 to be able to maybe contribute to that. So while y'all are choosing art, maybe we can choose one more and do one out by the Fairhope Elementary School East.
Got an even
Y'all
better
could do
idea.
that.
We have a arts festival that might be saving $20,000 a year. You might apply for an art grant
By the way,
Yeah.
you might want to.
for $5,000.
Yeah, and they could next year, but this
Just
year.
saying,
but
little
this year-
serendipitous.
Yeah, they could next year, but this year they can't because those grants have already been given out. So if we could go ahead while they're getting the
Yeah.
submissions and while they're painting, go ahead and do one out there.
And then I
That'd be
did
great.
just have a question for
I'm all
city
for
staff.
it,
Just
sure.
making sure that those streets, because we're doing a lot,
Mm-hmm.
there's not like a planned sidewalk or street construction renovation around that area.
Cut it out right.
Yeah,
I did,
yeah.
I did want to add, since there's not that many of us that's going to be working at a time, like 2 students and a chaperone. So like 3, maybe 4 people will probably just put on some safety vests and use like a couple of caution cones, but we'll mainly just be on the sidewalk. Just to we shouldn't need any like road closures or anything for this project, and we'll try to like start earlier.
I hate
And
that.
we'll coordinate with Public Works to make sure, and the utilities to make sure in these areas that they're not going to be tearing
Yeah.
something out.
I
Yeah.
think
hate
it's
to
gonna
ask
make
a
great
dumb
memories
question,
for our
but-
students, and it's gonna be a lot of fun for our kids to see.
Is it really $1,000 worth of painting supplies to paint
To do
one
another
storm
one.
drain?
I don't know.
Or could
I
you
don't know. They just, I think
squeeze the
they're-
6th one into the
we
same
may be able to,
price?
but I think we're saying that y'all were, I guess, $5,000 would do 5 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was
And
getting my
it's, and
math
it's
from.
helping cover like the Pelican's Nest Science Lab, their like field trip day, our supplies.
Got it.
It's kind of been allocated. Part of that will go towards like our promotion and like our reception for the students afterwards too.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's
Got it.
kind of like, it's spread
Not
out.
ju-
Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I like it, and I like that y'all are keeping it to native and, as artsy as Fairhope is, I'm not sure the big giant red octopus downtown would be what we need.
I think we're
Right.
part of the selection process, right?
What's that?
We're part of the selection process? Did I read that
We
right?
can, at so the first.
I thought I read that. I'm not trying to insert something. I thought it
That's
said.
fine, it's fine. The first kind of narrow down is like the high school, art teachers. We can definitely like bring some submissions to you if you want some final say.
No, if it's not there, I think it's okay. I thought I saw on there, city council, my bad.
Yeah, but it is
Got in the middle of some of
educated.
those other murals, but maybe
If
not
you
this.
want us to bring it back, we can.
I
If
prefer
not-
to
trust
judge
to you.
barbecue cook-offs, and I'll let the art people handle it.
There you go, there you go, there you go. Yeah,
I'd like to
so
see
Nice
the art
plug.
myself.
Casey Hardman of the Pelican's Nest Science Lab will help with that final selection too, because, she has the educational background of what's gonna be like best represented once
And then
it gets on.
Hannah is going to help with that too, right?
for
Yeah,
the
Hannah Lane will
artistic
help
side-
as well,
side.
yeah.
I would just have one word of advice. If you're gonna paint those sidewalks after they've been pressure washed, use some mold and mildew resistant paint because it looks like it likes to grow on those
Yes,
sidewalks right
it'll
there.
be high quality exterior, and then it'll have like a protectant sealant over it too. So it's everything that Hannah used for like the big murals that she did in the Arts Alley. That's basically what we'll be using for these.
It'll be nice and pretty and shiny.
Thank you. Thank y'all very much. Good project.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next item is committee updates. We'll start with Councilman Burrell.
Yeah, Airport Authority meeting will be tomorrow in this room at 5 PM.
Councilman Gammon?
Good afternoon. Yeah, I had my first committee meeting, first one I could actually meet, so this is exciting stuff. It was the Fairhope Environmental Advisory Board. Learned a lot of good stuff about them. Nicole and I were there, and yeah, they're working on a green space assessment and some ideas surrounding that, as well as there was one other thing that we talked about. Maybe habitat, yeah. I think that's the biggest one that they're working on right now. Obviously, a lot of celebrations for the Clean Marina designation. Not to see out there, you're going to talk about that, Mayor, but a lot of happiness there, and yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. Also working on some creative ideas for the park and the bees. Carpenter bees.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I guess I'll go ahead and just keep it in line. I've had a parking authority meeting, and we've got a couple additions to the parking authority on tonight's agenda for new members. Missed Fairhope Public Schools Commission meeting, unfortunately, and haven't had the others yet. So, Councilman,
Don't have any updates for now.
Councilwoman Booth.
Yes, I met with the pedestrian and bike committee, and they are still working on their ordinance for their e-bikes. They're getting close with that, but we have some fine tuning to do. And I also, just on behalf of the library, want to remind everybody that we are selling tickets to Chocolate and Champagne, which is Saturday, January the 31st, 7 to 9:30. You can get your tickets at the Fairhope Public Library, or you can come by my shop, because I have plenty for sale there as well. That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, next is department head updates. We got a long agenda, so we may be a little pressed for time, but we'll try to get everybody in, and if we don't get everyone covered, we'll give more time for questions at the start of the council meeting. So come forward and cover your agenda items while you're up here. Be great, no particular order. Sir, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you? I have agenda item number 22. It's the annual leak survey for our gas system. It's Survey Field Services, company we've used for the last 2 years. Budgeted item, pretty straightforward. I just wanted to make sure there was no questions about agenda item 22.
Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Cool.
sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Great.
Good deal.
Are you cold?
I will be. I have agenda items 19 and 20, a couple of maintenance items. 19 is for lift station maintenance for our yacht club lift station. It's to repair, the concrete top is in pretty rough shape, and then we're planning on lining it too. So that's what that one's for. And 20 is a spot in front of our old south section lift station that we are converting from a gravity section to a force main section. But it's not going to take the pressure. We found that out after testing it, and some bad results, but so we need to replace that before we can get our new Twin Beach lift station online.
Questions on either of those lift station items? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, Richard.
I'll keep it short. I'm representing item 16. Excited about this one because we've talked about it a long time. This is our Go Mesa grant-funded Magnolia Beach Restoration and Resiliency and Stabilization Project. We opened, had 5 bids, and we're recommending awarding to the low bidder, and we're under the grant budget, which is always a good place to be. So, and we're excited because there's going to be a lot going on this spring down there at Magnolia Beach and Pier Avenue and Pecan, and hopefully by the time that the summer season gets here, it's all brand new and sparkly down there. Be glad to answer any questions.
Richard, are the Go Mesa grants, is that 100% or is that a 20% match?
Help me out here, Nicole.
80/20, but
80/20.
But the 20% is on the back end for us.
Okay.
For monitoring.
Yes, so we will have to come back at the conclusion of this project, because part of us accepting this money is we would do a long-term monitoring of the success of the beach stability and
Okay.
renourishment. So that's going to be our 20% match, so it's backloaded. So
Gotcha.
in this case, I think they're carrying 100% of the freight of this, but we're going to have a roughly
An
a
ongoing
20%
expense.
equivalent cost post-project.
All right.
And then I'm representing Pat tonight as his engineer on item number 17. This was a capital improvement project at the Stimson Tennis Center, is to resurface the walking track as well as resurface and restripe the guest parking that is at the northwest corner. And we got a lot of interest on this one. I think we had 5 bids, quote respondents, and the difference between, I think, number one and number two is $43, and number two was, he called me and said he'd be glad to lower his price by $44 if he accepted, and said we can't do that, so. And we would recommend awarding that. That'll kind of finish at least this phase of new pickleball, new tennis. Ben's done new lighting, and we've got the fit course or the workout station or whatever it's called. Now the walking trail will be kind of the cherry on top.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
And then just as a promotion for whoever's going to talk about it, Nicole, I'm a supporter of item number 13 as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
That was 16, right?
Yeah.
The walking track, that, it's over budget? 17 over budget? Or, no, item 17 is 16 over budget?
16's
16.
under budget.
And 17 is? Okay.
So you're aware what we've talked about on that, because we're so early into the year. I mean, Pat's got a lot of capital improvements. We're hoping there's some savings on the back end
Okay.
where we can make up this difference.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, how are you doing, Jim?
IT has item number 23. This was kind of a huge increase from last year. This is a yearly renewal on our VMware product. Went from about 36,000 to 77,000 a year, and they're now forcing us to do a 3-year contract, which is good, I guess. In a way, we'll be locked into a price for the next 3 years. But just due to the substantial increases, I think we're going to take the next year or two and reevaluate that product, see if there's something better else to use, since there's been 2 increases over the past 2 years. So yeah, it's about $41,000 over budget. It is a 3-year contract. We don't have to pay all 3 years at once. We just pay per year. Couple items that will help kind of cover this shortfall. With the help of Nicole, we got a grant for some products for IT to help pay for our antivirus and our central logging. That'll offset about $54,000. That'll offset. And then we also made a change on our offsite backups. We were paying about $4,500 a year. We're paying $1,000 a year. So we have some money there that's going to help cover this increased cost.
Thank you. We went back and forth over email about this a little bit and talking
Yes.
about the grants and everything. I don't know if we build it into it, but love to see like you said, a reevaluation 11 months from now, 10 months from now. Obviously, from operationally, it's very hard for them to just switch on a dime, right?
It is very difficult.
That would not be feasible,
Yeah.
but maybe in 10 to 12 months, and maybe there's not a better option, but that's a huge increase, right?
It is, and yeah, it's going to be hard to find another product. Between myself and Sean, we have over 30 years' experience with this particular product. I've been with this since it first started. But there are other products out there, so we'll take our time and evaluate each one of them.
Just so I'm reading this correctly, because I think I am, the 41,000 over budget, or approximately 42 over budget, that's just for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Even though this price quoted is for 3 years.
Right,
It's 77 a year, but are we really going to be $123,000 over budget because we're locking in for 3 years. Or I guess we haven't set next year's budget.
Exactly. So,
until-
yeah, we'll have the ability to properly budget for it
Gotcha.
for the next 2 years.
Gotcha. But we're spending 123 more than what we thought we were gonna be getting locked
Correct,
into.
yeah. And so what happened is just this company, they got bought out by another company that reevaluated the cost structure and,
Decided they could,
yeah,
Go up.
I think the worst hit customer is AT&T. I think they had, hundreds of millions of dollars in increased cost. And,
okay.
So Jeff, when does this the existing contract expire?
it actually expired. They gave us a couple days to get this renewed.
They gave us
so-
a couple of days. That was nice of them.
Right. So, yeah,
I
it
mean-
expired on the 6th, I believe, and
And when
they,
did they give us this quote?
I had to look at my email, but it was November, December.
I would have probably
Looks like
liked
December
for this to have
11th.
been looked at and evaluated during the month of December so that we could have some options. Hey, I'm glad we have some grant money to help cover the overage, but that grant money could be used for something else. So it's a
absolutely.
true loss.
It is. Yeah, no, actually, I mean, I got it to all the paperwork. As soon as I got the quote, I kind of went back and forth with them to try to work. So I lost one council meeting, but then I got it to, all the paperwork to Aaron as soon as I could.
It looks like you came December 11th. That's a tough time to turn something around.
Right.
Yeah.
If we pass it, are we able to pass it with a stipulation that says, hey, we want a evaluation in 12 months, 11 months, 10 months that says,
Yeah, what are our, I mean, is there any opportunity, or this is how they get you? We're increasing the price.
well, there's always an out on a contract, right?
I'm sorry.
There's always an out on a contract.
Probably, honestly, if we found another product, in the next couple months, it's going to take us it'll take us a couple of years to ramp up.
Okay.
In order to transition all of our servers to a new infrastructure.
Okay.
I mean, this is a critical thing that this
Yeah,
does.
this is not just a,
Right, I
we're
mean,
gonna buy a different
we
brand
fine-tuned it. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, this would be training involved for myself and my team and everything, so it's not gonna be a quick process.
I guess.
Right, but this goes beyond the 3 years, right? I mean, because I imagine 3 years after this, there'll be another increase, or potentially, even if it's flat, you're.
I'm hoping this is the end of it,
No,
but
it will not be.
it won't be, right. So what I'll do
You know what I
is-
mean? Like, so if you find one that's half off now, well, yeah, it's only $100,000, maybe no savings because of labor, but 5, 10 years down the road, we're actually saving money because we weren't locked in with these people that are gonna yank us around because looks like they have us buy what they want us buy.
Yeah.
And they know that.
They do, and, yeah, so we'll just have to,
I
do
guess
our
just,
homework.
yeah, just over the next couple of years, be evaluating and see if you like
Yeah.
this, if you want to stay with this. And
No, I
just-
mean, I think we need to make a decision within like 6 to 8 months, which direction
Yeah.
we're going to go in.
Yeah.
And just
And start.
point in that
Point in that
direction
direction.
and
Okay.
Yeah, I'd want
move towards
to,
it.
I'd want to put something on that that says we want some sort of evaluation. It's a lot of money,
It is,
yeah.
yeah.
And obviously very key to your operations, so
Very
you want
key
to make
to
sure
the
this
city.
is,
It
that
really
we're
is.
down pat. This is exactly what we want and need for the next 10 years.
Any other questions for Jeff?
No?
Thank you. Thanks for the
Appreciate you.
information.
Sure. How are you doing today?
Good evening. I got item number 18, which is the extension number 1 of the citywide tree removal annual contract. Just helps us to get rid of some dangerous trees that typically are in the right-of-way. And this would just be number 1 of the extension.
Yeah, didn't see anything.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
Any questions?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I'd like to have the vest like that. That's nice. Yeah, I would like to have one.
Hello.
Sure. How you doing?
I have number 7. It's just an amendment to the business license code, adding some additional NAICS codes with attached fee schedules. So I have a few that are in there that are just group all into different services, and these are going to break them out to be a little more specific so we can classify them correctly in our business licenses. Just some housekeeping items.
Okay.
Questions for Jennifer?
This is just additions, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Back again.
I feel like you guys have never seen me so much.
You're very popular tonight.
Number 13 is our annual Let's Apply for some money for the Fly Creek Bridge. This one is, it's still raised, but they have changed the whole program. They're calling it Build now, which is, I can never remember the name of it. It's called Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development Grant. They've changed some of the requirements. They've changed some of the things that it will cover. So also, AlDOT has moved forward on their engineering and design. They've done some studies. So they're a little bit farther ahead in their process, and because of some of the requirements of this grant, the things that they've changed, I'm crossing my fingers this year. So this would be the city applying for this grant, and then if we are awarded, it would immediately pass through to AlDOT, so we would not be having any expenses out of pocket for it. Yes. Any questions?
Got a tough job.
Thank
fun
you.
job.
You like it? Good.
Some days not so much.
I did want to mention too that they have had a couple public meetings related to this. I think the last one was at the Yacht Club.
Yes.
And with the engineers, with AlDOT, I was there, Nicole was there. There were the Friends of Fly Creek were there. Quite a few folks were there just that have an interest in opening up the creek to be able to replace that bridge and those box culverts, because there is a lot of sediment with that's coming through from that failure. The other thing is, obviously, we still have the Go Mesa grant in partnership with Mobile NEP for the stream restoration there at Fly Creek. So all that will factor into this project. It's going to be a great project if we get funded for it, and a lot of great partners who will help us see it through.
Yep, and in case you haven't seen, the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program does have a device in Fly Creek. It's called Bocephus. It's so weird. Science is weird, y'all. It is measuring sediment in the creek, so that's part of their beginning process to measure and start taking all kind of sciencey data for their restoration project. So they're starting to get a handle on things. They are starting to talk to some of the landowners and the neighbors on Fly Creek to get access and things. So they're starting their process for their restoration project. And one thing that I did want to mention to y'all, I forgot to mention, the safety action plan is on the website. And the public can also view that. It is under community development, right, John?
It's just community on the main.
Oh, it's just under community. So for y'all to access that, to go ahead and look at it. It is quite large, so it was hard to email, but you can access that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Else. How are you?
Good evening. I've got a few items on the agenda. Item number 25, which is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Mark Foster Company for the Promotion Assessment Center for the Police Department with a not exceed amount of $12,000. And this is a budgeted item. Any questions? Okay. Item number 26 is another resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with People Engaged in Recovery, also known as PEER, for professional consultant services for prevention, education, and assistance. These funds are allocated funds through the money that was given through Tupperville's office for the opioid. And it's not to exceed 50, I think I said 50,000.
Yes.
Item number 27 is parking authority appointments, and that's for William Hayes and Randy Niemeyer to be added to the parking authority. And they were the only two applicants we had.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Stephanie.
Got a few?
Got quite a few on the first agenda, so I think we've got 4 site plans tonight. I'll go over when we get to those agenda items. And there is also an annexation. It's the Aldi property, which I know you're familiar with, and the property to the north. It did not go through the planning commission for a review as conditional annexation. It's coming to you, kind of what we call straight zoning. So we did a little bit of analysis on that and what is the zoning within the county, which is currently in the county right now, zone B2. So it should be
while you're up here, I'm going to mention real quick, and I'll mention it again at the start of the meeting, but item number 5 is a public hearing that has, they have requested to remove that from the agenda, so.
Oh, really?
So that item is not going to be here, and I'll mention that again at the start of the meeting.
Who requested?
I assume that would have to be re-advertised before it shows back up to an agenda item, which we don't have a timeline for. So, thank you.
All right. What else? All right. Seeing none, we've got about 5 minutes. If we could take a 5 or 10-minute break, council, we will
Please.
be back shortly after 6 to get started. This evening, Dr. Eric Hankins with First Baptist Church of Fairhope is going to do the opening prayer, followed by the pledge. Didn't think I saw him, so. All right, I guess I'll go ahead and say the prayer. All right, y'all please bow your heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day, for our friends, our families, all the blessings you've given us. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together and work towards serving the city of Fairhope, and we just ask for your guidance and wisdom as we make decisions that impact this community. Bless this community and all the members here that serve the city of Fairhope and work for the city of Fairhope, and we just ask that you continue to bless our lives and protect us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Before getting started, just want to cover a couple items. First, item number 5 is a public hearing. They have requested that we remove that from the agenda, so if you're here for the public hearing related to the vacation of the right-of-way by Montrose Cemetery Association, that item is not going to be considered tonight, being pulled from the agenda. Additionally, we need to pull, was it
21.
item 21, Mayor? Item 21 is also going to be pulled from the agenda. Okay. So with that, first item of business would be to approve the minutes of the December 18th, 2025 regular city council meeting.
Hold on. There we go. Rookie mistake. I did have a question about the minutes. And during the discussion about what we're actually going to be talking about for final adoption, I'd made a comment about the fact that we had citizen input about growth and asked the mayor if she had also received comments about that. She either nodded or said yes, she had also heard concerns about growth. That wasn't mentioned in it. I know it's minor, but it seemed like a valid point to the topic that we were talking about. So that's the only thing I saw to add or change.
Anybody else have any additions or subtractions to the minutes, any changes?
Move to approve the minutes as submitted with the comment added from Councilman Gammons, please.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Mayor, your report?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I have just a few things tonight. First, I'd like to invite Rebecca Byrne up. Rebecca is from the Community Foundation of South Alabama in Point Clear, and she has a donation for us, I believe.
Good evening, gentlemen. Happy New Year. Good to be with you on really appreciate the partnership that we have with the Fairhope Point Clear Community Foundation and you to enhance some property on Twin Beach and Section Road for a park that would be the addition of a splash pad and a recreational area. So as we have promised through a memo of understanding with you, we're making an additional $50,000 contribution for this effort. And I do want to share with you that is coming from the Community Endowment Fund at the Fairhope Point Clear Community Foundation. We are also raising money from other funders as well. Fundraising is going extremely well. We're having sort of a silent phase at the moment, but we're very, very optimistic and really appreciative of the response that we're receiving. And so as soon as some more plans are we will be able to see them and take them to the other members throughout the community and get their donations as well. We do have someone who's giving us a grant to leverage as a challenge grant. So we're waiting on those plans, but just want to share with you that it does look like it's going to be a wonderful project. I want to thank you so much. You've been the most perfect partner in the world. So, but this is just a little bit to add to the pot for that particular effort. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is so nice. Thank
Phenomenal.
you.
Appreciate it.
We had one other one I thought she might want to mention, but she doesn't want to mention that one yet. So thank you, Rebecca. We're really excited about that park. Again, that's Foundation Park there at Hope Community. And Richard has been working with WAS, Chad Watkins from there, on the layout and design. And we're hoping to have something finalized here pretty quickly where Rebecca and them can take that out to their donors and secure the funding that we need to go ahead and build that park out. So thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate that partnership. Also tonight, we have a proclamation that is regarding Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And is Melanie here? Hey, Melanie, hey. Melanie is here to accept the proclamation, and I'm going to read it and then let her say a few words. This is from the Office of the Mayor. It says, whereas human trafficking is a public health issue and crime that harms the health and well-being of individuals, families, and communities, often across generations, and whereas nearly 25 years after the passing of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, an estimated 27.6 million people are subjected to human trafficking globally, with cases reported in every U.S. state and territory, including throughout Alabama. Whereas human trafficking can happen to anyone, but certain populations are at greater risk, including people affected by abuse, violence, poverty, unstable living situations, and social disconnect. Whereas human trafficking is connected to many other forms of violence and exploitation and often shares common risk and protective factors such as lack of resources and unsafe environments. And whereas the first step in eliminating human trafficking is to educate the community, we must work to ensure that all residents are aware of this problem, how to spot it, and how to report it. We must work together as a community to bring victims to safety and to punish human traffickers. And now, therefore, I, Sherry Sullivan, as Mayor of the City of Fairhope, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in the City of Fairhope. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yep.
So on behalf of the Alabama Anti-Human Trafficking Alliance and all those that are fighting human trafficking, we want to thank the mayor and the city council for recognizing January as Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Preventing, recognizing, and responding to human trafficking and the trafficking of children cannot be accomplished alone. Rather, it takes partnerships across all our communities to keep everyone safe from online predators. Due to its isolating nature, many individuals remain unaware that trafficking is such a threat to our neighborhoods, families, and children. However, the internet gives criminals and predators easy access to our young people and children with newly developed applications, games, and websites. First responders and child-serving agencies are seeing a huge increase in children and teens being targeted by online predators and becoming victims of human trafficking. National Human Trafficking Prevention Month provides an opportunity to increase awareness of the signs of human trafficking. And today's proclamation recognizes the vital role that we all play in combating human trafficking, including offering appropriate programs and activities throughout 2026 to help parents, families, schools, churches, and all parts of our community recognize the signs of potential danger and how to respond. In closing, again, thank you for taking this public stance against trafficking. Together, we can help our community become safer and truly trafficking-free. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're always happy to do those proclamations and bring community awareness. Just a couple other things I want to mention. We do have this week, I think Councilman Gammon mentioned it earlier, but on Wednesday at 10, we have the Clean and Resilient Marina that we're going to have been working on for a long time, but the Clean Marina, being able to establish that, to be able to meet all that criteria. I know Councilman Burrell has worked on that too, Councilman Boone when he was here. So we will be doing that at 10 o'clock. There's a flag raising for that. I'm really excited about that. Appreciate Nicole and her work on that because she's worked diligently on the past year or so to get that in place and to make sure all the criteria was met. Also want to just mention, I know that Highway 98 right now, Greeno Road between Starbucks and basically Gayfer is kind of a nightmare for everybody. We are working on both sides of that road. Actually, we're not, but they're working on the turn lane for Chick-fil-A, and then also we're working on the 46 kV loop on the south side of 98 of Greeno, and it is causing some traffic nightmares for everybody. That work does happen between 9 and 4, so at least we're able to get school and work traffic through. But just be mindful of that, especially for the next week while they're working on that turn lane for Chick-fil-A. If you can avoid the area at all and take an alternate route would be great. We will be working on that 46 kV loop for 6 to 8 weeks in that area, so again, just be mindful of that. I realize that it's inconvenient, but it's also inconvenient to be without power. So we are doing that to make our systems more resilient and to make them more reliable, and it's really important that we do this work. So again, just think about if you're in the heat of the summer, you have to be without power, sitting in that traffic for a few extra minutes won't be as frustrating. So, and I think that's all that I have tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, next item is public participation for agenda items only, and this would cover items 6 through 27. There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting to address the council, so for now, if you have a comment on 6 through 27, please step up to the microphone, give your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the floor, move on to council comments. Councilman Burrell?
No comments.
Councilman Gammon?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilman Robinson?
No comment.
Councilwoman Booth?
No comment.
All right, I will roll with the majority, and we'll keep the meeting moving along. Item number 5, the public hearing, that again has been removed from the council agenda, so we are on to item number 6. Hunter, it's the final adoption ordinance to amend zoning ordinance 1253. It's a request of the applicant, SC Civil, on behalf of the owner, FST Bonnie Baker, to rezone property from RA Residential Agriculture to R1, low-density, single-family residential district. The property is approximately 10 acres and is located at 19763 State Highway 181.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I do want to just mention real quick, this is the second time, so I'm usually a little briefer in this presentation, but if anyone has questions, the last council meeting, we did discuss this for a little more thoroughly. That is available on YouTube for review if there's any questions. This is a zoning case. On the left is the property in yellow with our current zoning map overlay. And then you see the aerial on the right. As you can see, this is currently zoned RA, Residential Agricultural District. There is a single home on the site with multiple outbuildings. Survey of the existing conditions. There have been no development or approvals of this property throughout its history. We did look at the adjacent zoning, and we have quite a variety in the area. If you see on this map aerial, that is in the county, not city zoned, but we have everything here from R3 PGH, R6 Mobile Home Park District, R2, R1, and even part of a PUD. Our analysis on that, R1 was in line with the density, and that is kind of our largest single-family residential lot currently in our zoning ordinance. There's the list of the uses. We don't foresee any issues here, while single-family is, the homes are the principal. There are some ancillary, I don't think that's the intent, as was discussed during the last minute, to do a school or other potential options in R1. We did have one comment prior to the planning commission that was more about overall control the growth and density. This did go through the planning commission and comes to you with a unanimous recommendation from the planning commission, as well as a positive recommendation from staff in our evaluations in our zoning and long-range plan. I'm here for any questions if you have them.
All right. Any questions for Hunter or for the applicant?
Move for final adoption.
Got a motion for final adoption?
Second.
Anyone like a second?
I did.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Second.
Second that, okay. Sorry, I wasn't making everyone just sit in silence.
I didn't
for
hear
no
it.
reason- For no reason. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do appreciate Councilman Damon's comments when this was introduced, as it being in the city, and, you know, typically when someone's coming in and it's RA or something like that in the county, it gives us some leverage, but, I mean, it does, you know, when they're in the city, we have more leverage to not do this, in other words, but I do still feel like when we talk about our target densities, the R1 meets the target densities that we've talked about in the past of, 2 per acre.
Yes.
Further comments?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, what Councilman Burrell said that I said last time. We have more control over this. It's within city limits. The only comment, so 100% of comments were opposed to this for a restructuring density. The owner or anyone the owner deeds it to could still increase the number of units from 1 to 3, more than likely, if they subdivide it. And I just don't think it's wise or prudent for us to increase the traffic by 17 times on a road that is only 2 lanes, that is notorious for problems with traffic, when we don't necessarily have to do it right now. I'm not opposed to revisiting this in the future, but, we're currently under a suspension of applications because, and I don't know, Hunter, you can probably recite that verbiage particularly so, but because we feel there is a detrimental harm to the city if we were to continue to something like that, right? Help me understand what that, but regardless, I won't be voting for this because I think that we need to listen to our constituents who have told us time and time again, control the growth, don't eliminate it. I'm not opposed to this person putting more lots onto their property within the zoning that they are within the city. But I can't support it in good faith.
All right. Clerk, will you call the question?
Place 1?
Aye.
Place 2?
No.
Council President?
Aye.
Place 4?
Aye.
Place 5?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item number 7 is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 1233, known as the City of Fairhope Business License Code, Chapter 8, Section 22, License Classifications, additional NAICS codes with the fee schedule. Would someone like to introduce the
I'll
ordinance?
introduce the ordinance.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
All right. Jennifer spoke earlier. Anyone have any questions? Would you like to cover that again? Any questions or comments on this?
You want to hit the high points?
Sure. So this is just an addition of NAICS codes into the current business license code with their appropriate fee schedule. I currently license all of these businesses, but they are grouped into generic NAICS codes instead of listing them out on themselves.
So basically just that code, that's the only thing you're adding there.
Yes. And the
because
fee
you're
schedule that I'm using is the
referring to
schedule
it
that
as
would
the
already
NAICS
be
code,
in,
okay.
right.
Other questions for Jennifer? All right. Well, council, it's customary to just let this lay over for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hunter, we got a few for you now. Next item up is an ordinance for the annexation of Aldi Inc., FAV 181 LLC, and Fairhope Single Tax Corporation of the property located at 10101 County Road 48, Fairhope, Alabama, into Zone B2 General Business District.
Thank you, Council President.
Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce it.
This is not a planning case, so conditional annexation that would go through. Planning Commission have staff reports to you and a presentation, but usually the question is, what is the current zoning? And in the county, it is a split zoning, because this includes the Audi building already built, as well as the small property to the north. It's split zone in the county B3, B4, and I know I tried to send you all a list of what is the county zoning right now. It's 12 pages of uses, because the way they build on their zoning, it's B1 is allowed, B2 is whatever is allowed in B1, and so on until they get to their most intense zoning. So our challenge at this stage is what is the most similar zoning, and that would be B2 in the City of Fairhope zoning ordinance. So we see no problem with this. We do have an existing building. There is for that site an MOP that was approved by the Planning Commission that will govern that development, as well as local codes if they do annex in. So
The vacant parcel or the vacant piece of that property to the north, options on what could be there?
I don't want to speculate.
Yeah.
During the MOP, it was a fast service restaurant and maybe a retailish auto service oriented, but that could change.
Yeah,
It's
something
what would ever
kinda
be
like
in B2. I think one of those moved to another location, so I don't want to speculate exactly, but what is determined during that MOP is they built the drainage for both sites. They have the green space already in. The access is, as you see in I believe most of the stubs to the utilities are already installed. So we'd have to review that, whether it requires a site plan approval or whatever
So
for
let me
the
be clear,
building.
Is that proposed use allowed in our B2?
The ones we looked at when it was at MOP, yes, sir, they are.
Yeah, so there's nothing being grandfathered into this. I mean, it would be whatever's allowed in B2, subject to setbacks and everything else is all they can do with this property.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of sensitive because I'm getting the feeling that the developers are, starting to put buildings in every centimeter they can find right now, including parking lots, as you all see every day, and everywhere else they can find.
And to be clear, we can't stop anybody from submitting an application, but the currently approved MOP has some limitations on the square footage. So if they propose something new, it would, not only would it have completely new reviews, there would be new engineering, because the water supply, the stormwater pond, everything is already sized for those building footprints that are proposed.
Other questions for Hunter on this? Let this lay over till the next council meeting. And move on to item 9, which is also Hunter, is site plan review and approval. This is a request of the applicant, Cadre Engineering, on behalf of the owner, Fairhope Land LLC, for site plan approval of Culver's, Fairhope. The property is approximately 1.31 acres and is Zone B2, General Business District. The property is located on Lot 7 of Planters Point on the northwest corner of State Highway 181 and State Highway 104.
Thank you, Council President. So just since we have 4 of these in a row, just a quick, a site plan review. It's not a subdivision, it's not a zoning case, but when these annexed in or were subdivided, it was a condition on every one of these out parcels will have a site plan review. And that is capitalized term within our zoning ordinance that goes to the Planning Commission and City Council to really dial in what the proposed project will be. All 4 of these cases will be that, and generally located in the same vicinity. On the screen is the zoning map. The light kind of pink color is B2 zoning, and on the left you see that highlighted in yellow. The entrance to that Planters Point Shopping Center is just to the north. And And then you see the bare ground or undeveloped out parcel on the right. This property project is a Culver's Restaurant. Initially, this has kind of been in conversation for quite a while, but there was a request for more parking than our zoning ordinance allows. They creatively added some outdoor seating, that will be a little unique to this, but it otherwise meets our requirements, both landscape and drainage. All of our requirements are being met. We have not reviewed the signs, so I'm showing this for reference only. All signs will have to meet ours once that is a separate approval. There was a few things, and just a note here, because the staff reports are included, there was a few minor things that were not met during the Planning Commission review. Since that meeting, they were resolved, so on the screen you see those asterisks, and we're coming to you now with most of those items resolved. I'm going to wait till the final slide for each one, so I make sure not to tell you that everything's resolved, because that's our checklist. But as you can see, on the right is what we recommended to Planning Commission, and there's a strike through on all those line items. So we had some conditions at the Planning Commission. They have resolved those before they come to you, and they are now meeting our regulations as proposed. So Planning Commission did recommend approval with these 4 conditions, and now those 4 conditions have been resolved. So this comes to you with a positive recommendation from staff and Planning Commission.
Any questions for Hunter on this site plan approval for Culver's? Motion? Got a motion for approval?
Second.
And a second? All right, any further discussion?
Just back to my comment on the previous item, that, this is not one I would say is filling, because it was already a lot, so we expected something to be on this out parcel. My concern is for the very old shopping centers that don't have existing out parcels that are now making out parcels. So this doesn't fall into that category.
Comment? All right, all those in favor of the site plan review and approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, site plan passes. Item number 10 is a site plan review and approval, and it's a request of applicant Chris Lieb on behalf of the owner, Wind Delta Property Holdings LLC, for site plan approval of Wendy's Fairhope. The property is approximately 1.07 acres in a Zone B2 General Business District. The property is located on Lot 1 of Rockwell Place on State Highway 181 north of State Highway 104.
Thank you. So we're going to move, I'm going to kind of skip to now that you know the process. This is across Highway 181 and a little bit to the north. If, for a point of reference, the Encounter House, as we know it, is just to the south of here, south of the entrance to the Rockwell. You can see the apartments that are in the county behind this. This would be the first lot to the north of Rockwell Boulevard. It is also Zone B2, and the aerial, as you see on the left, was actually during the final plat. So if you go out there now, there's a little bit more landscaping and stabilized earth out there right now. So there was a requirement to share an access, and in the final plat. So as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, there is a shared access to the property to the north. As it develops, we'd have no clue what that'll be yet. But again, this is the revised site plan. It is a Wendy's. It's kind of self-explanatory, really, what a Wendy, and what they will be. The plans there, really the only difference is that will be the building. We will review the signs at time of permitting. It does meet our landscape requirements, screening. There was one slight minor parking and tree landscape requirement. They've met those since the Planning Commission. So again, we have a site plan coming to you that had some conditions at time of Planning Commission, but we've worked with that applicant to resolve those. This plan meets our regulations. So we recommend approval, and Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval for this as well.
All right, any questions for Hunter?
I have a question for Hunter, and this is just kind of overall. So, you know, there's a lot of talk about keeping Fairhope small, and that's very important to me. I know it's important to the council and Sherry. So when these people are coming in and building these subdivisions, I've heard from other people that you're really strict and you really make sure that everything's done correctly. Are we working on any kind of ordinance or anything to try to keep Fairhope smaller?
Should have voted with me.
So, it's a big question.
Well,
As
legal.
it related to commercial
No, I'm talking
subdivisions?
about subdivisions.
Okay.
Maybe we should talk later.
Well, let's be
Well,
specific.
I'm
Let me
kinda-
try to help you, Hunter. Let's be
Yeah.
specific. Was this parcel, weren't these parcels in the county?
So there was multiple things that happened here. One of the first things that happened was a subdivision of 2 lots. And on one of those lots, they built apartments that are in the county. And then this subdivision happened to create 10 lots after that acreage was zoned and annexed into the city.
Yeah.
And we knew
I
what
just-
that would be.
I just want to make sure,
annexation, though.
you know, Josh.
They would have stayed in the
is-
county.
is-
That's what happens every time, is
You
they say.
definitely, it's legal, they can do this, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think from the onset, this B2 commercial property, when that subdivision happened, has been very clear what it was going to be from the
Years
first
ago.
moment it
Years
annexed
ago.
into the
Right.
city.
Well, and I don't know if you've heard the same thing I have where you go online, well, why do we need another Wendy's? Well, we don't get to decide what's being built there, right? In terms of what specific restaurant is there. That's not up to the council, right?
Yeah, I
That's,
do
once it's
understand
zoned, it's up to the free market deciding what goes there. We don't have control over
Right.
Wendy's versus McDonald's versus whatever else.
Unfortunately, I think Chicken Corner is one of the nicknames
Chicken
I've
Corner.
heard floating
Well,
around.
there's
and-
strategies to stop that, though.
Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
want to get there.
Yeah.
Let's just say, for instance, you had a zoning that said, we don't allow drive-throughs. How many fast food restaurants are going to build in that zone?
Sure. So, yeah.
Right, or banks or drive-throughs?
Actually, you can implement, I mean, you can't outright say you can't do anything, but you can change what B2 zoning is. You can't affect the businesses that are already there.
Right.
But certainly, anything coming in, if you choose to change you can take a use out of B2.
And we've done that several times
Absolutely.
on zoning requests, that they can go into B2 minus
Yeah.
X amount of things that we don't want to see there. And so you can limit that in some ways, but
We
like you
just
said,
took
if it's- Yeah, go
boarding
ahead.
houses out of the
Right.
zoning ordinance as well. You can remove things you feel
Yeah.
or.
But are people
or
grandfathered
create
in to that?
specifics.
Well, if they've applied.
If
Only
they've
if they've
it's been
applied.
built,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
grandfathered
Of course,
in.
you have to build.
Sure.
So if you have county land and they want to have conditional annexation, and you say, no, we won't zone that B2 and all those uses, they'll just say, fine, we'll just.
Stay in the county.
Stay in the county.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And I think on the philosophical point of Councilman Gammon's comments on that RA property that was just approved to come in as R1, you know, the logic, I think, makes sense that, hey, they're not in the county, they're already in the city, so we have a chance to be a little more strict on them. But then there's also the thought process of, well, what's going to happen 5 or 10 years from now? Right now, they want to come in and do two houses per acre. What if 5 years from now, you got a whole new council and they decide they want to put in an apartment complex there? You got a council that says, that sounds like a great idea to us. We want more tax revenue. So it's sort of a bird in the hands, two in the bush. And I think you can look at it from multiple angles and it makes sense from both ways. So it is
And we've had
challenging.
some offline conversations, I would say, where it maybe makes sense that we need an in-between RA and R1 for density levels. Right?
I would agree.
Sure. And I mean, I'm going to take this a step further. It's RA right now. It's 10 acres. It can be full of chicken coops. And the traffic that generates could be a nightmare compared to 17 homes.
They don't go in our schools, though.
So, but traffic on the roads, I know, was one of the major concerns on 181.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Hunter, don't worry.
But so you know, bringing the subdivisions up on a site plan. Sorry, caught me off guard.
It was stirring in my head.
Sorry to stall there, but I was kind of trying to bring that to Wendy's.
I know, I'm good, I'm sorry,
but I'm up for that
I feel like
conversation
Joshua,
anytime.
he's wanting to say, keep it small, but I do know that we're all very passionate about keeping Fairhope small, and that was my point. And, you know, I feel like sometimes when you have gone to all the trouble to do all the work, I'm trusting in you.
Oh, you're right in the first statement. I get bad-mouthed a lot.
Yeah.
Difficult to work with.
Yeah.
You're really difficult to work with.
Councilman Booth, I think that we would all like to see Booth hamburgers there rather than fast food place. I mean,
Sure,
but
yeah.
like-
That's
like
going to be a
Joshua
great
says,
career
we
for
don't
me.
get to choose on that. I mean,
Yeah, that's the hardest one too, sometimes. I certainly wish everything was mom and pop, locally owned and operated. That is a very
Definitely.
hard thing around the nation to figure out, how to.
We still have a lot of mom and pop places downtown
And
Fairhope.
I support them every day.
Yeah,
So,
I do too.
you know, I think that's the real, I think, message, if we can keep
Bring it
supporting
back
mom
to
local.
and pop, shop
Yeah.
local.
Well,
Bring it,
any
yeah.
more questions for Hunter on the Wendy's?
No, I will say, Hunter, I do very much appreciate staff pushing for the tree and landscaping requirements. That really makes a big difference. There's other parts of the state and cities, municipalities that don't have those strict instructions, and it becomes pavement paradise. Some of those places are right near us, so it's really great to see you pushing. You mentioned, it's just a minor thing. Well, it's not so minor, right? If they're supposed to have 25 trees, they need to have 25 trees, right? And it needs to be a native plant. It needs to be all those different things. So I appreciate you going to bat with us and upholding those ordinances.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional comments or questions for Hunter?
No, I'm good, thank you.
I'll move for final, or for site plan approval.
All right, we've got a motion for site plan approval
I'll second.
and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the site plan carries. Item number 11 is also a site plan review and approval. Request of the applicant Jade Consulting LLC on behalf of the owner Planters Point Partners LLC for the site plan approval of an Advanced Auto Parts. The property is approximately 1.09 acres, is zoned B2 General Business District, and the property is located on Lot 9 of the Planters Point development on the northwest corner of State Highway 181 and State Highway 104.
All right, thank you. I'll jump right to since we're already familiar with Planters Point, I'm going back across the 181 to the public shopping center, and this lot is to north of the previous one. So just south of this lot, there's an existing construction out there that is, I believe, an express oil change that was approved previously. I'm going to bring out the details there, why that's important in just a second when we get to the conditions. But in general, this is an advanced auto. I'm going to show this on the screen because there is a shared access happening that is changing the express oil change plan slightly. Everything hatched in red on your screen is not part of this case review. Just what's in green for the advanced auto, and they are meeting those requirements, the requirements of our ordinances. They are working with the express oil change and slight construction changes to their plans to accommodate for a shared access instead of, when first presented, there was maybe going to be required multiple access, and that's one thing that really helps us. Your pedestrian access is a lot better if you can limit your entrances and ingress and egress into the site. So this would be a shared entrance. On screen, you can kind of see the standard, again, landscape signs would have to be approved. There was some landscape requirements. Those have been resolved. You can see there what the previous express oil change on the bottom of this page. That is what is currently permitted. Their engineers are working with Jade to revise those plans. There is a problem if that doesn't happen. I think everybody's working to that. I think we should see those plans in the permits very soon. But if somehow that doesn't work out, There is a condition here that this site will not have access, so they would have to go back through a review for that. But if everything goes as planned, we should see revised plans for the express oil change, and then the Advanced Auto Parts can get their permitting to continue as well. I'm going to kind of move on forward. If there's any questions, certainly we'll be happy to answer those. There is a 10-foot out in the front of Planters Point, and I think you can see it across the road in the encounter development. There is this one's happening a little piecemeal in the as each lot is developed, but there will be a 10-foot multimodal trail on the front side of this property. So that's actually eligible for low-speed vehicles, bikes, not just a sidewalk. So that, on this plan, if it's just to the left of those green trees inside the property line. So that is being connected throughout the property in addition to the internal sidewalks already installed. There are some conditions on this one. There are 2 conditions pending. 2 of those, as I mentioned, were resolved, and the other 2 are just there to protect the city and the permitting in case that express oil change does not happen. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read those real quick, but there's 2 conditions. We do recommend approval. The first condition is the provision of revised plans and submittal documents for all active development permits associated with express oil change at Lot 11 Planters Point, illustrating the proposed shared access prior to issuance of any development permits for Advanced Auto Parts at Lot 9. And if the applicant elects not to pursue a proposal for shared access of Lot 8 and 9 of the Planters Point subdivision, the application and all supporting documents for this site plan case, SR 25.07, must be revised and resubmitted in accordance with the next available standard submittal deadline as outlined by the Fairhope Planning Commission meeting and deadline schedule. Other than that, this did come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and as well, we support this approval.
Council President, if I may ask Hunter a question. Hunter, now are the parties involved? Have they, I know they've been notified. I got a call from one of them. Are they in agreement? Do you feel like they're on board with the staff recommendations then?
We were particular about we won't issue the building permit, but we'll accept it after this approval and have reviews, and they are working toward ensuring this condition is met. And Paul Marcinko is here with Jade. I don't know if you have any updates on that.
I want to make a recommendation of approval subject to staff recommendations.
All right, we've got a motion. That's a second. And a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Hunter, we are on to next site plan review and approval. And this is a request of the applicant Element 3 Engineering LLC on behalf of the owner Coast Properties LLC for site plan approval of Pelk Tire Auto Service Center. The property is approximately 1.22 acres in the Zone B2 General Business District. Property is located on Lot 7 of the Encounter development on the northeast corner of State Highway 181 and State Highway 104.
So if I say it meets, are y'all ready to vote? Or do you want me to go through the
the
presentation?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Present.
We are hopping back across 181, but south of this is abutting 104. The property is Zone B2, as the last 3 have been zoned. And just to get your bearings here on this one, on the aerial on the right, that building you see on the left-hand side is the new Wawa. So just across the little entrance off 104, the property being proposed for development here is shown in blue. There is a dental, name's escaping me, dental that was approved previously is the other building being built in that area. This is the development plans. There is also a multimodal trail on this property that was installed during the Encounter development. There's the building layout. This is also Pelk Tire. It's kind of interesting that we've got an Advanced, a Pelk, and a Wendy's that are all on Greeno coming out. It's kind of interesting that that's the the folks here are the ones willing to make that first jump, because some of the other folks, the stats aren't there to prove that 181 has the right traffic to support commercial business. I think we all can drive out there and see that. Stats tend to lag a little
You
bit.
get your oil change, and you get a hamburger, and then you go get,
Tires change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you get your tires changed while you get a banana split, I guess.
That's right.
Frosty.
Yep. So this one the only non-compliant things at the time of planning commission were some lights for the parking lot that were a little too tall, and a few minor tree and landscaping requirements. Those have been met. I'm going to confirm that with the slide here. This did come to you with a unanimous recommendation with 3 conditions, and they've revised their plans to meet all of those conditions. So we recommend approval without any conditions.
Any questions for Hunter? Site plan.
Approve.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor of the site plan review, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you, Hunter.
Thank you, Hunter.
Sorry.
Appreciate you.
Right.
Item number 13 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope authorizes the submission of an application to the Build Grant Program 2026 for a bridge system to replace the box culvert system over Fly Creek on US Highway 98, Fairhope, Alabama, and authorizes the mayor to sign all required grant application documents on behalf of the city. If awarded, the money will be passed through to AlDOT, who will manage the project.
To authorize the submission of the grant.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comments? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion passes. Item 14 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract for extension number 2 for consulting services for FEMA Public Assistance Management Services for utilities damage projects to Royal Engineers and Consultants for 1-year extension of the annual contract from January 22nd to January 21st of 2027 per the same terms and conditions of the original contract and contract amendment number 1. I don't know that we covered this one in the meeting.
We did not.
Anything on that?
I can cover this one. This is Royal Engineers, or the engineers that we've contracted with in the event of a disaster to help us with utility recovery, to restore and recover, so we can recover as many dollars from FEMA as we can. So there's no cost to it unless we have a hurricane.
And the annual not to exceed is 500, so I guess we did set
And
a budget, but.
right, and it will be reimbursable by FEMA if we need them.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments on that? Or would
Move
someone
to
like to make a
execute the
motion?
contract.
All right, got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract for extension number 2 for consulting services for FEMA Public Assistance Management Services, government services to Royal Engineers and Consultants for 1-year extension on the contract per the same terms from January of 26 to January 21st of 27 as the original contract and contract amendment number 1. I believe this is, the first one was,
Just the government side of it.
yeah, the government side. Okay. All right. Any
Move to
questions?
authorize the mayor to execute the contract.
Got a
Second.
motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item 16 is a resolution to award bid 26001, 2023 to American Asphalt, Inc. for the Magnolia Beach Restoration and Stabilization Project with a bid proposal not to exceed $494,712. That's the Go Mesa grant. As Richard said, this is kind of front-loaded, so the grant pays for everything on the upfront, and our 20% contribution will come on the back end as we monitor the success, I guess, of that restoration and stabilization project.
Good stuff. So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions?
Just a smart aleck comment. These are great people. They do great work for us. But did anybody see the irony of the asphalt company doing the beach?
Yeah, you got to be
renourishment?
careful. If you don't use them, you know what's going to happen.
I did, I was surprised.
I was
that
thinking
that's
the
who
same
did
thing.
award, so. All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item number 17 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the award of the request for quotes to labor and materials for Stimson Park walking track repair and resurfacing project to Chris Brewer Contracting for a not-to-exceed project cost of $65,977. This is a public works project, will be less than $100,000, and therefore does not need to be formally bid out. It is $15,977 over budget. I guess we'll just try to make that up elsewhere. Did we get more than one?
There were more than one bid.
Multiple
We had
quotes.
multiple
Yeah,
quotes,
lots.
and they're just over budget, so. Any questions for Richard or any comments on this?
Early in the year, make up the money later.
Make a motion to approve?
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second.
Mayor, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kim and I did discuss whether we do a budget transfer from another item, but it is so early in the year with capital projects and Rex heavy in those. So we are hoping for some cost savings. If not, we'll try to make that up somewhere else. So we're being mindful of that. We're keeping
Thank
note
you.
of it. Thank you.
I know you are.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 18 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract for extension number 1 of the citywide tree removal annual contract for Public Works Department with Looks Great Services of Mississippi, Inc. Per the terms and conditions of the original contract, the annual contract cost not to exceed $50,000. Any questions for John Thomas on this? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, we've got a motion. Would anyone like to second it?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion?
Comments?
Yep,
I'll
sorry,
abstain.
comments. Yeah, I knew you were gonna be an abstention. I'm
This your
sorry I
tree
didn't
company?
call for that.
I think I have an in-law that works for them.
Okay. I was going to withdraw my first.
All right, so we've got one abstention. Any other comments? All right, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes, and be sure to note in the minutes Councilman Burrell's abstention. Item number 19 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the award of the request for quotes for labor and materials for the Yacht Club Lift Station rehabilitation to QR Contracting for a not-to-exceed project cost of $64,873. This public works project will be less than $100,000 and therefore does not need to be formally bid out. Questions for Noel on this?
Make a motion to
lift station?
approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of this project, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 20 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the award for requests for quotes of labor and materials to replace a failed section of piping near the South Section Street Lift Station to Balcon, Inc. for not-to-exceed project cost of $86,152. This is a public works project, will be less than $100,000, and therefore does not need to be formally bid out. And we gave a description of this earlier, but any further questions for him?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion?
This is coming out of our maintenance funds again, same as the previous one, out of the 500,000 we have budgeted.
It is.
Is that right?
Collections, maintenance, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's why I was making sure. Okay, thank you.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 21 was pulled from the agenda. Item number 22 is a resolution to award bid number 26-11 to Surview Field Services, Inc. for natural gas distribution leak detection survey with a contract amount not to exceed $100,000. That's just as needed. who the gas department utilizes for leak detection. Questions for Wes? Would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 23 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the procurement of the renewal of the VMware Cloud Foundation support that is on Omnia Partners contract with SHI International Corporation, and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. The 3-year term renewal total amount is not to exceed $233,471.52. That amount, it's a 3-year contract, it's $77,823.84 per year. We are bound to a 3-year contract, and it's $41,823 over budget for the first year, and we would amend the budget the following years to catch that. But any questions for Jeff? Any comments or
Jeff, did you try to negotiate with them? I mean, they're over 100% increase. Well over 100%.
No, we went through line by line to make sure that everything was right, and, yeah, I mean, we did our best, but they didn't come off the price.
I'd like to propose that we approve it, but with stipulation that we get in 6 months, as you said, would probably need to be the time frame, an evaluation of potential other vendors that could be used for this in the future, should we want to transition off from this
Yeah, I'd be
platform.
happy to. 6 months, I'll report back to you. But,
Yeah,
we'll
I think
find
that
out,
would be good.
You know,
just
get a
to-
couple other
plan is.
vendors and just, you know, do our due diligence to make sure everybody knows that we're looking at exactly getting the best bang for our buck.
Zach, you said they're going up 100%?
Over 100%.
Yeah.
Over 100% that just doesn't seem legal.
Well, they sold, as Jeff mentioned,
that's what
so,
happens.
you know, the
Yeah.
company that used to utilize sold, and they probably,
Company by the
Figured
name
we
of
were,
Broadcom bought them out.
but I do think that would be a good idea to go out and see what's out there, come back to us, let us know, hey,
Absolutely.
this is the best price or the best product, then we rock on, I guess, with
Start
what we
working on
got,
that.
but.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, they would just cancel it, just cut it off.
Don't need that.
And you couldn't, like, get in charge of somebody and say, we just want to go year to year?
No, they wouldn't do it.
Doesn't seem legal to me.
Yeah.
They're backing you up against a wall. They got
I'm
control.
afraid too, if we went year to year, would it be 140 next year, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
I mean-
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why you need to be finding something right away to replace them.
Absolutely.
I think so.
I agree.
I'll move with stipulation that in 6 months, we have a report at the city council about some different options for the same service.
All right, so that's included then in the motion, I guess?
Yeah, please.
All right. Thank you. Motion. Second, was that a motion?
That was a motion.
Okay,
Second.
that was a motion and a second. All right, any further discussion?
Thank you, Jeff.
All right,
Thank you.
all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
One nay, motion passes. Item number 24 is a resolution that the city council approves the selection by the evaluation team for professional services for the classification and compensation study to Evergreen Solutions LLC, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to negotiate the not-to-exceed fee to be approved by council. This was classification comp study that Hannah spoke about in the work session. Any questions for Hannah? We'll get this, will come back to us, obviously, with a fee.
So moved.
Got a motion?
A second.
A second. Any further discussion?
Like, I think Hannah correctly pointed out, you recommend to do these every 5 years. It's been 5 years.
And I want to say their 6-month timeline was kind of in the middle, if not on the quick turnaround. There were several that were 9 months or longer, so.
I'm actually excited to see what this company,
Yeah, it's
how
great.
they perform on, I think, you know.
And we've used this company before, prior to Auburn. This is who did the compensation study for us, and there's several other Baldwin County municipalities and southeast folks who've used them as well.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Passes. Item number 25 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract with Mark Foster Company for the Promotion Assessment Center for the Police Department with a not-to-exceed amount of $12,000. And Chief spoke about this earlier. Any questions for Chief on this?
Yeah, what's the length of this contract? For a year, and they just, they administer the tests? How many tests a year do they administer? And we've never done this before?
Further questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion? Anyone like to second it?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Little reluctant on that. I just, I feel like we could determine who needs to be promoted. I mean, our police department's not that huge.
Motion, second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 26 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract with People Engaged in Recovery, PEER, for professional consultant services for prevention, education, and assistance with a not-to-exceed amount of $50,000. This was money allocated through the Tuberville team for a grant for opioid epidemic, basically in efforts to deter that. Any questions or comments for Chief regarding this?
Like a great program. Yeah, thank you. I'll make the motion to approve.
We've got a motion to approve
I'll second.
in several seconds. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion passes. Item 27 is a parking authority appointments, and this is to appoint William Haynes to replace Brian Flowers. Brian is on the Board of Adjustments and Appeals and couldn't be on two. So William Haynes is owner of Provision, and then Randy Niemeyer has also been recommended to replace Kelly Gribler. So Parking Authority met. They're in favor of both of these gentlemen. Both have businesses downtown and would have a vested interest in the parking. So
And the only two that applied.
the only two that applied.
Yeah.
I move to make the appointments to the nominees.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item number 28 is public participation. You got 3 minutes to come forward, address the council. This is your opportunity to speak to us on whatever is on your mind or on your heart. It doesn't have to be on the agenda, but you have 3 minutes. Please give your name and address to the city clerk.
Good evening. Lou Seamer, 116 Eastern Circle, Fairhope. I appreciate, it seems like a perfect time to bring some of these things up, and I appreciate many of the opinions expressed in this evening's meetings. First one about keep Fairhope small, also about density, and primarily being parking compliant. Seems like a few months ago, there was an issue about the hardware property, and at the time, it was kind of pushed back for a later date because from my memory, the council didn't like the proposal at the time. Well, thanks to Mr. James in the most recent issue of the Baldwin Times, he said there is a plan that the Planning Commission has approved, and I was somewhat shocked by their approval. And they approved it at a vote of 8-1 for a 26-room boarding house with a restaurant and retail on the first floor, which was part of the original plan, as I recall. But this time, there's also a rooftop bar. There's plans for one parking spot, and I wonder where all those residents, visitors, customers, and event participants will park. Seems to me the lack of parking already contributes to the constant failure and turnover of businesses in the downtown area. Some of you are business owners downtown. Maybe you're wiser than I am, but just my perception as a resident, it seems like there's a lot of turnover. Well, I've been listening to Mr. Burrell, and I appreciate much of what you say, sir, about setting precedent and how badly that can end if there's not. Thank you for that. Obviously, Mr. Turner of the Planning Commission has not been listening. In the article, it's quoted for him saying he would like this to be a one-off, and this might be a real neat thing. Really? It seems also he may not be aware that the Walker parking consultants initially found that 600 to 700 additional parking places are kind of needed in the area. I'm presuming that area is downtown Fairhope. Ms. Bryant, the vice chair of the authority, was the only dissenter. The vote was 8-1. By definition, a boarding house is a commercial living quarter. Shared restrooms, kitchens, services, and upkeep. I don't see anyone with the means to support our downtown businesses wanting to commune with 24 of their closest strangers and a rotating menagerie of partygoers. When I last heard the property plan, there were 2 to 4 parking spaces and 6 to 8 boutique hotel rooms, no bar on the roof, and some retail on the first floor, and the council didn't like that. Somebody's not listening to you folks. And I don't see where all these people are going to park. It seems like we need more people on the parking commission and maybe fewer people on the planning commission, or at least those that would listen to city council. I thank you for your time and attention, and I'm sorry that I went over. Thank you.
I'll just address a couple of those comments because I do happen to be the liaison to the planning commission right now.
Thank you.
I think one of the challenges, and Councilman Burrell, I believe, touched on it earlier, when they came forward with the original proposal, I think that there was concern with the council about the amount of parking or lack thereof. We tried to negotiate and work through that. Ultimately, what they found was a loophole. I'll call it a loophole, but a loophole where a boarding house was still an acceptable item on our zoning, in our zoning ordinance. So a boarding house, by selecting boarding house, they do not have to provide parking spaces.
Great.
We immediately closed the loophole, but by submitting their application, they are grandfathered in at least to be considered as a boarding house. Now, some of the other items I think are up for consideration, but I don't think we were in a position to hold them accountable necessarily for parking spaces because they did meet what is allowed in the zoning ordinance. And I mean, I understand your frustration. I think I've had some frustration with the amount of parking as well. I think that was my heartburn with the project originally, but
yes, sir.
Council, if y'all would like to speak
I mean,
to that.
there needs to be a solution to the parking, and that's what we're working on. So we're hoping we can come up with something. Even
You're on
build
parking
parking
too, right,
garage
Jimmy?
over the gullies, I
Didn't we
don't know.
have, sorry.
The study is still in process. I haven't seen a completed copy of it yet.
Yeah, we feel the
Honored.
same thing that you feel.
Well, I think Mr. Burrell brought a nice topic up earlier this evening about traffic accidents are down. People are driving golf carts. Maybe we should not allow cars downtown, golf carts and bicycles. They can park bicycles on the sidewalk, much like they do in China, and that doesn't take up much space on the street. But I don't know where the cars are gonna go. Seems to me there was probably several missed opportunities for the city to acquire land. Yes, we need parks, but my God, we need parking a whole lot more, it seems to me. And we could have put up our own parking garage or encourage somebody to do that. Thank you all. I appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you. We're going to get it figured out.
Like to comment at all on that, or?
I'm going to comment on that at the appropriate time.
It will be coming back before the city council at some point, so.
Absolutely. And just a very quick comment. There was some misinformation in one of those articles quoted as well. It always, when we quote people, that our videos are recorded. Anyone can judge that meeting by watching that YouTube. And the quotes from the parking studies were a very brief blip on a radar in a work session months ago. We are going to send the parking study back to the parking authority before it comes back to you. And that is a separate from the project. So just a couple of quick points of clarification. There was some data there, and actually, Chief asked that question this morning. I told her I'd get an answer by the end of the week, and we've been preparing for this agenda. So I don't know that right now. I don't want to speculate with their schedules. They now have a quorum, so we'll get that before the end of the week, get that kind of on the agenda.
And what about when he said the boarding house regulations for a shared bathroom? Was that in the regulation, or is that just a description of a general boarding house?
That's just a description.
Yeah.
That's not in our boarding
They're
house.
not going to share bathrooms. They have a
Yeah, I just saying, when I
separate-
saw the floor plan, it didn't look like that at all.
No, there's.
It's like a hotel room with a bathroom for
The
independently.
limited regulations, they have to provide food for that, so, and there has to be at least one resident live on site.
Yeah, somebody on site.
That's the main difference.
That's pretty
between
much
the
it.
Yep, and that was in our zoning ordinance from, I believe, 1954.
Yeah.
And we don't have any we know of that actually ever use that use, so.
Any other
That
ones
would
like
cost
that
less.
hiding somewhere we should look at? Any bathhouses or?
Haven't been here since 1954, but so I'm not going to say with 100% surety.
Yeah,
That's
stable
right.
regulations.
There used to be anybody that served alcohol had to be transparent windows. You couldn't hide behind a wall. I don't think that's still in place. So there was some quirky
Thank
quirky
you,
rules
Hunter.
out there.
Interesting. All right, well, the floor is still open, so if anybody would like to come forward and speak?
I literally rode my horse downtown and tied it up and went shopping. I literally did growing up. So things have changed quite a bit. Yeah, can't do it anymore.
All right, anyone else? Last chance. All right, go ahead and close the floor and entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're out of here.
There's Rick.